Alright, enough stalling. This is a work of fiction. Ooh. New title screen. Alright. I can fuck with that. I dig it. High roller mode. Is this the save? Is this the save? We will have to do some big review. Okay. We are leaving the crime scene. We are going to the morgue. Gatesfield Memorial. Let's see. Yeah, I got the Serra charm. Heck yeah. Alright. Very good. Okay. So. We have quite a bit we can piece together over time here. Salt was loose. The whole... Did we knock that over, or did Serra knock that over? Did she knock that over? I remember saying at the time that what this is going to end up meaning is that someone had loosened up the cap of the salt shaker to do something nefarious with it. Witness testimony, singular witness, we don't know who that is. They've retained representation. Right at 7:30, spoke with David Asher. David Asher went to retrieve liquor. Turned. David Asher brought the glasses already poured in plastic cups. They shared the drink. Felt disoriented at 8. Lost consciousness 8:03. Used the emergency console to call EMS at 8:04. They both went to Gatesfield at 8:08. David was pronounced dead there. And he was poisoned with something real serious because you have to be hit with something real serious, or if you're hit with something known, there's a good chance that you can be saved. Hit with something serious, and was described as a designer drug, I believe. We can look it up in the terms then, but yeah, whiskey spilled, little left to test, but no inconclusive results. David's health insurance includes private EMS on standby. Only offers 3 levels of employer-provided plans that outrank it. Does that mean 3 levels higher, or... glass of water. Out of the sink. DNA fingerprints of the unknown witness. No trace of poison. David's cup was plastic. They both had plastic cups. Whiskey was favored by David. And he specifically brought it up from the basement. We have 32 chips. Yeah, designer drugs, specifically. Alright. As I approach the lobby's exit, the building's soundproofing begins to fail. The crowd has gotten bigger. There's something else happening out there. The energy's not panicked yet, but it's creeping up on the tipping point. Are this many people pissed at Noble for selling androids? The hell's got them all so excited? I don't know. What does that symbol mean? In this ravel? Probably something vulgar. Which one? That heart with a bullet hole. I don't know. It's probably nothing. Uh-oh. Heartbreak fans? Based on net associations, it appears to be a symbol for the heartbreak killer. That doesn't make any goddamn sense. Why would that freak have a symbol? Or a following? Or these... whatever these people are. And why the hell would they be on outside David Asher's apartment? Because Noble's trying to cover up the truth. They are? Those Megs and they are scrambling to shred every document they can. Morgan squinting. We need to stick together, form a perimeter, and try and catch them when they go to dump the scraps. Serra, what are you hoping to find? Proof that Asher was killed for trying to blow the whistle. Blow the whistle? On Heartbreak? No one doesn't want the world to know that the A-16 is sentient and homicidal. You think that Heartbreak is an android? You think whoever did all that was human? Fair point. Noble's advanced prototype went amok and started killing random people? Don't be a lamb. It only looks random. There's a clear pattern, as long as you're smart enough to see past the bullshit. Oh, okay. And how does one see past the bullshit? Stop engaging. Smart kid. She gets it. She's asking the right questions. What the hell are you talking about? No way those victims weren't related. It's gotta be deniable ops. Ooh. They must have all been in DO together before getting their records bleached. Then as soon as they've outlived their usefulness. What are you, nuts? Everyone knows the first 6 HK got to were the 6 prototypes that came before him. Oh boy, the conspiracy theories are real. Warm android so perfect no one could tell the diff. A bullet to the heart's the only way you could kill those other over-engineered freaks. Everyone's got a goddamn opinion. I see. I love this utterly dissatisfied Morgan expression. I just love that. Stop seeing, start moving. These people are insane. Why don't you eat some more corn slop, asshole? You think you can be the cyberpunk without ever thinking for yourself? You think it's a coincidence victim number 6 was working on Harco crops? They're putting something in the food. These people, a heartbreak. This is a goddamn embarrassment. What the hell am I paying taxes for if the state can't shut this shit down? What about you, Adonai? What do you think about this heartbreak figure? They're just a murderer. Should be caught and sentenced like any other murderer. Oh, she went full heartbreak for that. But they must have some reason for doing such terrible things. Aren't you curious? Why? Are some reasons for committing murder better than others? They might have experienced trauma or abuse. They might have... Millions of people experience trauma and abuse every day. Millions. And yet there's only one heartbreak. So you think that they were just born that way? That's my guess. That's unsatisfying. Sad. I don't see why it would be. If Heartbreak was born like that, then they never had a chance to be anything else. If Heartbreak was born like that, then none of us normal people ever have to ever worry about turning out like them. That kind of predestination means they never have to take responsibility for what they are. The state can make them take responsibility. As soon as they catch them. You make it sound so trivial. They are a very dangerous serial killer. Just a serial killer. Just? If HK shot someone every day, it would take them 1,132 years and about 11 months. In order to have killed 413,789 people. You did that in your head? I'm good at mental math. You counted the leap years. But what is the significance of that number? Death within, 18 months of the Blakefort industrial disaster. Times that number by 2 for the injuries. Tack on another 183% for the birth defects. 413,000 dead, and there wasn't anything evil about it. Just human error, some shoddy welding, and time. So you think that heartbreak is nothing by comparison? Perhaps that is the problem then. If they're nothing, if they represent nothing, then they can stand for whatever the crowd wants them to. Uh-oh. Let us... Oh wow, we got a lot to pick up on. Blakefort disaster. Congestion ahead. We are currently limiting traffic related to this particular search due to a large number of edits coming in from net addresses outside your country's borders. Uh-oh. We're proud to fight alongside variable user country and combating disinformation by foreign actors like those in Variable User Adversary Latest. Uh-oh. You can read more about how and why this collaboration works here. Tired of running into slowdowns? So are we, but maintaining a secure data border takes resources. Contact your representative and explain why you think the national data security budget needs to be expanded, using our Easy Right forum here. So that's an interesting natural disaster just dropped on our heads here. It's a terrifying natural disaster. Well, goddamn. Oh, cyberpunk. Huh. Originally a term coined in a short science fiction story, and later having grown into a genre all of its own, cyberpunk historically has referred to a counterculture created centered around the themes of underdogs resisting powerful corporate or government forces through digital guerrilla warfare. The genre has persisted to modern times and evolved in numerous ways. Over the last 2 decades, it has taken on new meaning as a kind of mythologized way of being for the adolescent or disaffected to aspire to. A code of conduct that emphasizes anti-authoritarianism, community organizing, corporate disengagement, and socioeconomic consciousness. The so-called singular cyberpunk has become the 21st century, man without a name, a wanderer with their own rule of law. Cultural critic Simon Essentia summarized the appeal as thus: there is no such thing as a 21st century hero. Is it any wonder the most vulnerable among us turn to the past for guidance? Very eerie how the what was once a futuristic term has become like an almost hippie, back to the past sort of term. Users also frequently search for "Get ready with me, Cyberpunk." The 99 Man Explained. Are co-ops illegal? The 99 Man. That feels like a reference to something. What that something is, I don't really know, but deniable ops. Deniable is a fictional classification for clandestine state actions that need not be taken responsibility for because plausible deniability and military disinformation efforts create enough confusion that every party involved, even the victims, can spin the outcome to suit their own needs. No such designation exists. Deniable ops are a common recurring concept in online conspiracy theories, often used to wave away questions about why supposedly explosive events are never reported on through the media or addressed by world governments. It is also commonly claimed that deniable ops make ample use of private military contractors in order to further distance governments from the political ramifications of their military actions. Conspiracy theories are no laughing matter. If you're worried that someone you know might be being indoctrinated or spreading misinformation themselves, you can report them to the state at our non-confidential portal. Non-confidential. They're gonna die. Please make way. Officials are coming through. Please disperse. Eat walking pigs. Fascists. Noble owns the corpse. Oh, only the cops they build in their factories. Very funny. Why are we tolerating this shit? You want me to wade into the crowd with a nightstick? Prove them wrong? You know what I mean. We're the only people in this city trying to do some goddamn good. Are they all just... That's just part of our job, detective. No offense, man, but wearing a police badge earns you a little more hate than... Do they give prosecutors badges? I have an ID for the parking garage. Does that count? Depends. You ever hesitate to wear it in the open? Ooh. This moral relativism of yours seems like a strange philosophy for someone in your profession, Adonai. Breaking up the bleh, easy for me to say. Breaking up the breaking out the thesaurus on me. I'm only being realistic and humble. I'm just one woman, Sarah. Whatever I do, right or wrong, it's less than a % rounding error in the grand scheme of things. Do you tell that to your clients? No, but they come to appreciate it when I win. I don't mean cops in particular. The same deal applies to anyone who works for the state. The terms are stark, but the ink dried a long time ago, and we all agreed to them. I don't recall voting for it. Well, not voting is about how these things come to pass, so... We traded freedom for safety, individual rights for collective power. The state won, the citizens lost. The very least we can do is take their criticisms head on. Look, I don't have a problem with the responsibilities of authority. Only with authority being challenged? They treat us like we're the bad guys. Well, sometimes we are. Sometimes the law is wrong. So if any given individual is too small to ever affect change, so the public's gonna hate us no matter what we do. And if corporations and governments will trample over people the same, regardless of their character, we can't even be sure we're doing the right thing. What do you do, Adna? What the hell do we do? I think it's pretty simple. It's not as complicated as you'd think. In times like these, in a world like this, the only logical way to live is... The only moral way to act is... Do whatever it takes to win. There's your thumbnail. There's your thumbnail. Roll the opening credits. If I'm insignificant in the grand scheme of things, I can do my worst and no one will notice. If power is inherently evil, holding back won't save your soul. Just fight with both barrels. And trust the opposition to do the same. Winner takes all. Oh, they cooking. They cooking. Oh, yeah. Oh, shit. Gatesfield Memorial Hospital. Oh, thank you. You're a lifesaver. Next time that bridezilla texts you, just turn your phone off. Eh. Chatty guy. Must have been due to go on break. When he tried and failed to find the witness's medical record, his datapad had the name blacked out. I did see that they have Caduceus Executive 3. More expensive than David's, which means they're most likely. How did you do that? You need to hold the button to get the doors to close faster. Mashing does nothing. That is not what I meant. There were many others who arrived before us. How did you get us down here so quickly? Well, I didn't do anything. It was that nurse who escorted us. Yes, but you managed to get a stranger like him to help you with so few words, so little information. I don't think you even gave him your name. Haven't you heard of the Golden Rule? Of course I have. Treat others how you would want to be treated. Oh, you precious child. Wrong. Oh. Treat others how they would want to be treated. He wanted something that he could vent. He wanted someone that he could vent to. He wanted someone to pay attention to him. And he wanted to feel appreciated. Which meant he'd be eager to help, given the chance. Even just reading someone's mood is quite difficult. How can you know that how another person wants to be treated? There are no mind readers. No one can ever know anything about what anyone's thinking. Maybe not even themselves. Doesn't matter if they're your parent, your twin, your lover. It'll always be a gamble. That is... Sarah's expressions are so great. Not a very comforting sentiment. Well, I think it's fun. Only because you're good at it. How did you get so good at it? Same as anything. Observation and practice. You must have been observing and practicing for a very long time then. So you proceed down the hall, bear left, look for the fourth door. I'm gonna open the one that says morgue on it. Ah! Ma'am? Hello? Mm-hmm. Oh, hey. Come on in. Don't stand out there in the, cold wouldn't be accurate. Sorry about the chill in here, but I run a little hot. Correct? Oh, fuck, I'm late to Morgan time. We Morgan it. Hello, woman. Yes. We have met our mortician, and we are vibing with her immediately. Bug tattoos or mesh shirt? I can't tell, but I desire. It's possibly both. Possibly both. And you can see my roommates never complain. Yumi Sato, a medical examiner. Dr. Sato, just the lady I wanted to see. I didn't expect that I'd get to. The fact that they've assigned a medical examiner and not some ad or junior means... Oh, you can just call me Yumi. And we all wanted to see this lady, yes! Morgan, I represent the deceased. The deceased? The deceased. Asher and D. Wait, really? That's, weird. Thought this time slot was scheduled for a group of noble PR people who, I know, weird, right? Well, what the hell do I know? I was getting tired of hosted Megs anyway. Gotta finish typing up this report before we talk shop. In the meantime, feel free to make yourself at home. Don't mind if I do. Inspect. That's a lot of screens. There's gotta be diminishing returns on productivity. Oh, yeah. I would say. Why do you have so many monitors, ma'am? You can't just ask someone that. Good question. Every quarter when they do inventory and budgeting, they ask me if I need anything, and I never do, so I submit a blank form. I guess a while back there was a +1 in a spreadsheet somewhere, and no one's ever corrected it, and so, boom, I get 4 new monitors every year. Oh, that's incredible. That's incredible. Do you even have things to use them for? Sometimes. But this year I've started running 2 dramas at once when I'm doing road work, which helps. Watching 2 television shows at the same time helps you do road work. Helps me use up the screens. I see. That is powerful. That is powerful. I fuck with that. Big time. Sata. Your birth March 3rd. Ooh, your birthday soon. Occupation. Medical examiner. Likes accessories, reality TV, palm readings. Dislikes social media, mood. Dress codes, ebooks. Loves to make new playlists. Hates to throw out old clothes. Most proud of my weekly meal prep. Vibe with that. Boom. Are these all dead bodies? One would hope so. I only meant that I'm surprised to see them stored here. It suggests a backlog, which suggests a higher murder rate than the public data would lead one to expect. Do you only examine bodies for the police, Doctor? Oh, I wish. Nah, most of my job involves confirming COD on natural deaths for insurance adjustments. Insurers want to blame the mod for failing. Mod makers want to blame the stiff for not exercising enough. Family says the company insurance plan would pay for mods, but not a gym membership. Yeah, that whole wall there is suspected defective liver mods, suspected leaking internal biobatteries, suspected CCIC. A CCIC? Climate change-induced complications. Oh, I hate it. You can prove that climate change contributed to an otherwise natural death? Very, very rarely. If it can be proved, what does that mean for the family? What does that mean for the family of the deceased? Plus or minus 14% on the life insurance payout. Yeah. Welcome to the world, Serra. It's awful. I mean, it's most of what I do, and I don't dislike my job. It's just... so much of what I do just boils down to telling a bunch of cheapskates how to split the dead man's bill. Stuff to make homicide feel like a breath of fresh air. Is that all we have to see here? That is spewing particles over there. Oh, read! What's this? The hospital's getting renamed? No, I guess it's some other hospital that got snapped up. Hospital renamed to thank the Icaria family. Robot leaves her room for the very first time, gets radicalized in less than 48 hours. Oh, immediately. Immediately. We left her home, and she immediately got hit by a whole bunch of conspiracy theorists spouting off stuff about the Heartbreak Killer. Spouting off stuff about the Heartbreak Killer, saying that she herself, not knowing that she was Asher's prototype, saying that she herself, Asher's prototype, was homicidal. The Heartbreak Killer, yes. Meanwhile, immediately whenever the Heartbreak Killer gets brought up, you see Morgan go just full dark eyes. Full dark eyes. What the fuck? These fuckers don't know what the hell they're talking about. Icaria family. Do we know that name? I don't think we do. In a ribbon-cutting ceremony held uptown today, Plotter Memorial Hospital was formally renamed the Northeastern Icaria Medical Complex, in recognition of the family's incredibly generous donations over the last several years. This latest in a string of philanthropic efforts by the family to result in a name change after they paid for renovations to the orchestra hall and the retrofitting of what used to be known as the Scout Arena. Run by Gendoya Icaria. Oh my god. Honestly. It wasn't so long ago that the Icaria were better known for drawing blood and donating it. Back before the 50s, they had a fearsome reputation for cutthroat business practices that had their business rivals going so far as to accuse them of involvement with organized crime. After the founding of Renogen Medical over 25 years ago and its subsequent sale, the Icaria have moved out of the business world into the upper echelons of society. Oh boy. That are sometimes mockingly referred to as the Nobility. Generation of newly minted aristocrats born from the unique and chaotic economics of the mid-21st century and the Red Decade. And as to opinion on those who label her family House Icaria at the hospital's renaming ceremony, Renogen board member Mireille Icaria had this to say: "In this country, anyone can make a name for themselves so long as they're willing to put in the work. Mock new money all you want, but the truth is that success is all about reinventing yourself, and the only ones who comfortable with that are Mireille Samaril." We're working hard to put out the rest of your article, character by character. It's tough work, but we'd be able to go about it a lot faster if you leave a tip. Want to drop your payment info in the jar? No, I don't want to drop my payment info in the jar. What the fuck? The Icaria. Guess they weren't always in the same line of work. Now they're plastering their name wherever to get themselves a new image. Well, the Nobility are eager to prop up their image whenever they can. Well, that must go double for the Icarias, assuming the truth about their criminal past is anywhere close to the rumors. Is she finishing up over there? Oh yeah, I think my favorite thing we've encountered so far... Oh, Nobility. Slang term for the nouveau rich. New money, families that arose in the second half of the 21st century and global economic turmoil. The name carries a negative connotation. It's meant to criticize the way said families supposedly style themselves into this nobility. Even as a second estate that administers global power alongside the first, government, and third, corporations. How to marry into wealth, honestly. Oh, who are nobility families? How to marry into wealth? Define Navajo. Obviously, the top powers of the world. Governments are still number one somehow. Number two are the rich. And number three are corporations. That tracks. Well, yeah, we picked up cyberpunk. And cyberpunk has become almost a historical hippie movement of sorts. It's delightful to see. Like, the idea of anti-authoritarianism, community organizing, corporate disengagement. It's now almost literal hippie movement. That's like cowboys, yeah. She's finishing up over there. Right, okay. So what's up? Thanks for your time, Dr. Sato. My first question would be, what was the cause of death? Oh, wow. How there? Hi there. Cute android. I didn't even realize it, but I was... really cute. The skin is... that's remarkable. Even just looking close, you can tell they really are warm. No. Still not quite human body temperature, but they've come a long way. And the yearly gens all looked flushed, felt like they were always running a fever, and they ran like it too. Even 2 years ago, the average warm android only lasted... sorry, but the circumstances surrounding this particular case call for expediency. Right. Oh. Serra, little shipe out there. So what can I tell you? Cause of death. Were you able to determine the cause of death? Well, cause of death, sure. We got that much figured out at least. Why doesn't that sound particularly reassuring? Dr. Asher died of respiratory failure. Oh, right. Considering Serra's creator is dead, where will she go for repairs? Oh, no. Good question. Respiratory failure. Not enough oxygen in the blood, not enough blood going to the brain. Root cause being widespread depression of the central nervous system. What would the symptoms be? What would it have looked like? Lightheadedness followed by dizziness, then headache, slurred speech, exhaustion, loss of consciousness, and finally respiratory arrest. Report shows that EMTs tried intubation, then resuscitation through electrical stimulation, repeatedly. By the time he got to the emergency room, they were desperate enough to attempt direct artificial blood oxygenation, but it was too late. And you're certain of all this? Oh, well, most of it, sweetie. Most of it? Yeah, it's turned into quite the puzzle. I'm used to having more pieces to start with. I'm surprised a man as rich and famous as him didn't have any kind of biomes. But his files show he wasn't a viable candidate for modding. Yeah, that's right. Without that kind of first-hand tech, we don't have nearly as much data as we'd like. But he was extensively monitored from the moment the MTs arrived. I'm very certain about our conclusion. No Minecraft biomes. No Minecraft bones. Biomonitor, generally used term for wearable technology or implanted mods that track and provide feedback on a subject's vital signs. Additional layer of security. Ah, yes. Commonplace among the affluent. Some sociologists and consumer trend analysts point to anxieties about the climate, pollution, and the stresses of modern life as to why adoption of biomonitors has met resistance with medium-wage earners. If one's health is already assumed to be poor, constant knowledge of its status might be considered uncomfortable. Wake up every day to my alarm clock saying, "Ha ha, you are poor." Biomonitors are also frequently employed by incarceration, probation, and workplace health initiative programs. Go to jail and get a life sign, and like the also tracker, stabbed into your neck. Nice, very nice. Gin. Ah, yes. Did you find anything else unusual about his body in your examination? Cuts or bruises? No injection sites, nothing in any cavities? Nothing at all, huh? Tox screen. The police mentioned a tox screen. Yeah, that's the thing. They ran a tox screen when he first arrived, a typical diagnostic intake procedure. Based on the emergency call, they figured he must have overdosed on something, but the tox screen gave them nothing. After he died, we performed the broadest screenings possible. Nothing. So were you forced to conclude this was a natural death? I didn't give up that easy. I took blood samples and compared their makeup with what was on record in his previous medical history. They managed to isolate a single, non-naturally occurring chemical compound that wasn't there before. What was it? Some exotic toxin from a different hemisphere? I wish. Granted, through every available database we have access to. Even a few I only sort of have access to through some friends. Oh, real passionate about her job. Especially going that far. Especially going that far. Hello. Not only does it not match any known poison, it doesn't match the chemical makeup of any registered compound. So, a designer drug, huh? That seems to be the best explanation. What the hell did you do, David? You said it didn't match any registered compound. What about compounds that aren't registered? Those friends of yours, private sector folks. Yeah, in pharmaceuticals. If one of them patented a new compound, a new drug, what would keep its formula from going on the record? In the private sector, intellectual piracy is the norm, so you're expected to protect your research aggressively. Patent first, find a use later? Yeah. A patent would have to at least describe your compound in brief, but depending on what country you file in, I've heard it may be considered prudent to keep the actual chemical makeup off the record. Smart. Using international IP law as your own personal minefield. How so? Whenever you're ahead, patent as much as you can, as fast as you can, but bury the formula so that no one knows where it's safe to walk. Anybody small and ambitious comes along, finds a new drug they're excited about, you flip up your card, let them know you came up with the idea years ago. That you'll give them death by 1,000 court dates if they so much as blink. That is a very cruel system, god dang. Wouldn't work on anyone your size or bigger. They could punch back, but for the rest of the field... Oh, wow. Your corporate lawyers are scary. I'm not a corporate lawyer. So you came up with that strategy just now? So it's possible that this poison is actually a known substance? Something that the hospital could have easily identified? It wasn't considered a trade secret. Yes, unfortunately that is a possibility. Still, just because a drug is new, that doesn't mean it's original. Does the effect that this compound had remind you of any other drug? Maybe one that's prescription only, or a controlled substance. One that you might know by another name, or with a patented structure. Sorry, sweetheart. It's a general depressant. There are a lot of drugs that have that effect on the body, and they all come in all shapes and sizes from all kinds of places. If the effect was unremarkable, what about its strength? Would you estimate how much of this stuff he had in his body, all told? Not precisely, no. Not without detailed knowledge on its half-life, but I'd guess that it must have been about 20 milligrams. Is 20 milligrams a lot? Not for medicine. But this wasn't just an overdose of something relatively harmless, then. No. Not if 20 mil was enough to crash his entire nervous system. Thank you, Yumi. Of course. So, you ready to view the body? Could skip it if you want. I know most people get squeamish around corpses. Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. Thank you, Morgan. Okay, then let's get started. Alcohol itself is a depressant too. Wonder if it had interacted with it, and that's why its drinking partner was safe. Oh. Yeah, entirely possible. Such a small amount. Now her name is Morgan. Da-dum-tsh. In fact, that's why she prefers Morgan. Because she's quite used to dead bodies, so to speak. Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum-bum. All right. I'll just step out for a moment to give you some privacy. Yes, please. Thank you. Last time we talked was on a Sunday. You were complaining, I remember. It's the principle of the matter. Right. You had ordered this cheap piece of shit sculpture or something by mistake. It came damaged and you wanted to send it back for a refund. I gently reminded you how, with your salary, it was literally not worth your time. I kindly offered to throw it out for you since you're having so much trouble letting go. You're only offering because you want to see how loud it sounds shattering at the bottom of my trash can. I denied it, even though you were right, and it was obvious. I should have let you have that one. Thought that he would look different. But he looks exactly the same as I remember. His skin is pale, and he's very still. But his face is the same. His hair, his hands. You were expecting something more drastic? They really were friends, yeah. The last time I saw him, he was alive. He smiled, and he told me he would see me soon. Now he is dead. Something is gone. And I can't find the difference. I'm trying to look harder. I think I might just not be capable of it. I wonder why. Why I was created to not be capable. Could be an issue of skill. Or maybe it's not something that can be seen, no matter how hard you look. But it's there, I guarantee it. Skill issue! I've seen the transition enough times to be sure that between life and death, the distinction has significance. To the dead, at the very least. You're going to smoke. Here. Now. I don't know if it's just Twitch being Twitch, but I was told there was gambling. We were getting to the gambling, but first we have to mourn. I'll pay the fine. That's not the issue. Were you expecting me to fall to pieces? Real boys grieve in all kinds of ways, Pinocchio. And some don't grieve at all, it seems. I'm a cold woman. Sorry to disappoint. What the hell? Why the hell won't this thing light? Adonai, you have your cigarette backwards. Oh, she's feeling it. She is feeling it after all. Alright, that's back in the cold storage for him, so... Need anything else? Can you send me the chemical makeup for that compound you isolated? Sure, for what it's worth. Let me just... Got carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen with hexagonal structures. So it's organic, but there's a number of metallic elements too. If you had to speculate on its intended use based on what we know of its structure... Well, it certainly acted like a depressant, binding to receptor pathways and affecting the balance of neurotransmitter reuptake. Depressants are pretty rare in the designer drug scene. True. People are always looking for a higher high or a, crazier trip, but a more powerful depressant will just make you fall asleep. Oh, I want. Not much need to hit up the grey market for that kind of experience. No, there's not. I see. Thanks again. You've been extremely helpful during a very difficult time. Anything you need, give me a ring. Oh, yeah, that's very Rockford's orders got me on call. I'm already getting overtime for the whole weekend. I'm glad to hear it. Oh no. Did you really want to give her a ring for other reasons? Goodbye. Goodbye, Yumi. And goodbye to you, Greenie. My name is Serra. Nice to meet you, Serra. Ooh. Let's actually check our evidence and see if we've picked it up in evidence. Picked up this. Mine Ikari. Okay, we don't have much. We don't have much beyond this dark. So yeah, with like they just sort of gave a vague shape here. They just gave us a vague shape, told us it has metallic substances and organic compounds, and it acts similar to a depressant. And 20 mils was enough to shut him down. Just informed David Asher when he arrived at Gatesfield. Alcohol was the only item positively identified. It's entirely possible that whatever he was given interacts with alcohol, like Freya was saying. An autopsy. Lost consciousness at 8:03, declared dead at 8:25, ICU. Redacted presiding. Respiratory failure. Unknown substance detected in bloodstream, approx 18. 20 mil. Adenosine. Oh! Oh, wow. Loud curling handwriting at the bottom of the document reads, What the hell is talk screen? Sent attending physician back to med school. Send apologies to attending physicians. These readings are a nightmare. Interesting. We'll keep that in mind. Up on ramps and down off ramps, above skywalks and under tram lines. Buildings get progressively more polished as we head into the most economically developed part of the city. Corporate territory, national headquarters for the likes of Howe Industries, Lockquin, Tethys, Neve. You see them sheltering their own microcity of employees accommodation. Microcity of employee accommodations beneath their skyscraper shadows. Whalefall, the entirety of the ocean floor coming together to feast and grow and live. Live off the fetid, rotting fat of the leviathans that swallow generations of people by the mouthful. Weight is commonly listed, and my weight is... do I really have to disclose that? Noble lays claim to one of the largest shadows of the city, a towering nerve center for the whole nation's android industry. It's meant to be intimidating, I'm sure, but today I'm glad Noble keeps such a sizable physical presence here. Need answers about David and his work on Serra. Answers I never get browsing the company website or speaking to a representative. Synopsis. Relationships. There are typically trivia sections as well. Should I start there? Are you searching Wikipedia? Noble will have their guard up, of course, but even that will tell me something. Where they let me walk, who they let me talk to. History. Their efforts at performative transparency and clumsy obfuscation will... How did you know my father? What? I'm sorry, did I interrupt... did I interrupt your brooding? No. What did you ask? My father. I know you were his friend. But what was your relationship like? Can't you just scroll through our socials? Father avoided social media. Your online presence is... not significant. You're saying I don't have enough followers? Essentially. Ooh, burned. We went to the same college. You studied programming? No. I studied all kinds of different things as an undergrad, but not technology. Is that a good way to prepare for law school? I wasn't preparing for law school. Anything else, really. David, though. He had talent, and he knew he wanted to do something with it. He studied programming, robotics, discrete math, cybernetics. What classes did you share, then? Business ethics. I was the second best student in the class, and he... was the first? He was the one who asked the most questions. Not sure about his actual ranking. He found the course challenging, and I clearly didn't, despite being younger. Guess he felt burned. He'd come up to me after class to argue, and sometimes to ask for help. Father always talked about socializing like it was a chore. It was kind of you to give him a chance. What, like I was some kind of social butterfly? The belle of the ball? Was Emma the first? Oh no. Oh, I bet she was. I bet she was. You weren't? One Sunday night, he knocked on my door, all panicked, saying he was in bad shape with his tech course. It was a midterm or something the next day. I couldn't make heads or tails of the material, but I did my best to at least quiz him. He wasn't satisfied, though. Wanted to cram the rest of the night. Father had to cram for an undergraduate midterm? Did I say something scandalous? He's been called the founder of modern programming. Yes, well, even founder types can have poor time management when they're 21. He was already fried by that point. It wasn't hard to tell what he was really asking for. So I went and stole a study aid for him. A study aid. Study aid. You stole a controlled substance just to help him with studying? Morgan, did you sell my dad ecstasy? No, that'd be insane. No, I just pocketed some breath mints from the common room. Told him to pinch his nose and swallow fast, because the taste is so strong. You gave him a placebo. He already knew the content as good as he ever would. What he needed was to sleep. He could barely keep his eyes open by the time I got back from my daring heist. It didn't take much convincing for him to rest his eyes just until it kicked in. And the test? B+, I think. I'm surprised that father stayed close with you after that. You stole and lied to him. That is honestly really sweet. That could have gone so much worse, but literally, Morgan being Morgan, doing that with someone she barely knew at the time, was honestly really sweet. I stole and lied for him, and David understood that. He was good at understanding things without me having to spell them out. I guess that's not the kind of thing that gets passed down through programming. That right there is probably the biggest reason why they stayed friends. He's good at understanding things without her having to spell them out, and she's not the type who really, on a genuine connection level, she hates having to spell stuff, having to do that. So, anyway, we kept in touch after that. First year of grad school, he published this paper, The Turing Solution, a framework for programming adaptive linguistic heuristics. One of his advisors came up with that title. David thought it was way too cocky, but it still hasn't failed any known Turing test in the years since. Don't act like you're the one who deserves credit for it. He called me one weekend, asking for advice on how to handle the attention. Love Sarah's little pouty cheeks, yes. Job offers, interviews, apprenticeships, invitations to immigrate. What did you tell him? I don't remember telling him anything, actually. None of our conversations went like that. He would talk to me about whatever personal or professional problem was stuck in his head that day, and I would nod while he wore himself out. At the end of that conversation, he'd thank me, even though I hadn't offered a single word of advice. He took Noble's offer, and they took over his education, paid him to work on his master's during the day and 10 corporate training at night. She was his rubber ducky, yes! And whatever else Noble may be, they were smart enough to start listening to him early. You are referring to his one-point doctrine. Quality over quantity. Simple and elegant, just like his code, just like me. Wink. Simple and elegant, but anathema to a global corporation with supply chains designed for maximum capacity and just-in-time manufacturing. Good old JIT. Good old JIT, my nemesis. But obviously they got over their distaste fast enough. In the span of a few years, Noble's gone from making manual labor ads for meager profit, being the world leader in intelligence as a service. Even as he was making money hand over fist, he still kept in contact with a nobody like me. Moved to the city for my apprenticeship. He helped me put a down payment on my apartment, then made up excuses as to why he couldn't help me move boxes. So is that enough detail for you? Thoroughly convinced that he and I were, in fact, friends. I am. But, Adonai, the favor that you owe him, what was it for? That really is. That's private. Understand? I have zero interest in talking about it with you. Eh? Say you understand. I understand, Adonai. You'll be arriving shortly. Shall I send word ahead? Just tell them that David's lawyer is here. That's suspected. That is highly not impossible. One of the things that came out of the crazy crowd when we were leaving David's place earlier was a theory that David was about to blow the whistle on Heartbreak. Alright. Noble Electronics. Northeastern HQ. Sub-lobby A8. I've been here before. It's my best guess. Ooh. Oh, holy crap. That's really cool. I see where you get that from. Holy crap. Sat right here in this lobby, waiting for David to come out and treat me to lunch. At least I think it was this lobby. Science! Science real! Could have been some other floor. Could have been an entirely different building. All these corporate towers of Babel feel like interchangeable fractals to me, holding in on themselves in patterns of narcissistic paranoia. So monumental in the scale of their hubris, they needed to use non-Euclidean geometry when drawing up blueprints. The greatest minds of each generation coming together, just to find the most expensive way to shove their heads up their asses. Katonk. You are free to snackoo me at any time, Dark. Let's just be clear. Let's just be clear. You feel free to snackoo me at any time. I probably deserve it. Adonai, is something bothering you? Just doing the math on how long we'll be kept waiting here. Apparently, someone will be here shortly. So maybe if I pass the time by glaring around the place, it'll improve my mood. Let's glare! Let's glare. Glare! It changed the logo again. Noble Electronics. How's it feel stepping in here? Is this some kind of religious experience for you? It's just the corporation where my father worked. Careful now, or they'll burn you for heresy against the company. You said it again. The company. As if it's a proper noun. You're mimicking the employees, aren't you? So it can't obey simple orders, but it can pick up on that. Is it just a part of the corporate culture? Noble's one of the biggest corporations there is. One of the biggest there's ever been. We mere humans can't hope to escape the gravity of anything that size, no matter where you live or how far off the grid you think you are. So imagine what it's like working for them. You live in company dorms, work in company quarters. Wherever you go, that logo's above your head. Eat, sleep, and breathe on Noble's timetable at its discretion. When you spend your whole life inside of it, Noble must feel big enough to be the only company there is. Depressing. Glaring at you. To think it's only one room. I think this is only one room. This complex is so massive it doesn't even feel man-made. It's like it was carved out of the rock by waves. Like it's always been here. That's the con. If this place was actually natural, there'd be birds everywhere. I hadn't considered that. Why aren't there birds in here? The holographic cherry blossom tree really makes you feel in tune with nature. Probably because of what they do to the ones that get in. I'm kidding. But I don't have a better explanation. It fits in with the aesthetic, and it's a very unique vibe in this setting. Although possibly, if you're jaded to it in this setting, it would probably be so much energy, so many people, all so intent. You kidding? It's Saturday. The place is half empty. Doesn't everybody work on Saturdays? All the parents do, so they don't need to find childcare on Sunday. Everyone else flips a coin, I guess. All these people for 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. What could they all possibly be doing? Making work for themselves. You could be very cynical, can't you? Yeah, I'm terrible. That guy over there has just been jiggling his cursor for the last 20 seconds. Whoever comes to greet us better have a pulse and some goddamn authority. My mood's starting to sour, and if they just send me the first link in their infinite chain of corporate bureaucracy, I'll make them wish. Morgan? Oh, Tired Man! That's me! Hey there. Android Manufacturing Quality Control Eastern Division. Evan Dawes. Evan Dawes, he says, like it's an afterthought. What's a name compared to your place in the hierarchy? You seem familiar. Have you? I'm David's lawyer. Oh, then we must have... apologies. Let me first just say how sorry I am about his passing. You and everyone else at the company must be going through a lot right now. As if it's a proper noun. Thank you for taking the time to meet with me. You're welcome. Well, it's no big deal. Serra can detect unnecessary capitalization in Your dialogue. There he is. Occupation. Chief Supervisor, Android Manufacturing Quality Control. Likes hammocks, calligraphy, pale ale. Oh, I like this guy. Dislikes first dates. Conference calls, 5 o'clock shadow. Relatable. Proud of his practiced handshake. Struggles with solving captures. Oh no. Hair starting to gray. How old are you, sir? Sent you more science because you show up a molecule to a chemist, and they gotta go pull up a research paper. Oh, I love that. That's really cool. It's really interesting. It's really interesting just seeing what these caffeine derivatives you found are. Turning into MAO inhibitors, anti-cancer, anti-HIV, antimicrobial, anti-leukemia. That is wild. That is really that is really cool. Alright, well, it's no big deal. Everyone's on the razor today, but what else is new? That sounds like corporate slang. Compared to PR or legal right now, or workloads in QA, or never mind. How can I assist you? Shortly before his passing, Dr. Asher began the process of registering this android. Yes, that is correct. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to finish the job. Look at that. It's definitely custom. Gee, you think? I think I sought out an expert. Warm, it goes without saying. Remind me of the A16 Premiere, if anything. Barcode is clearly printed, no visible defects. But you're right. It doesn't correspond to anything we've got on file. Well, they sent you the right man for the job. Now we just need to get to the right place. Not far, I hope. It's in the building. In the building. That could mean anything from down the hall to a half a day's hike. Production line on B9 should have everything we need. You do manufacturing inside your corporate headquarters? B9's a fully functional production floor, but it was only built for demonstrative purposes. New clients make deals upstairs about how many and in what shape or size, then they come down to the basement to see how the sausage is made. They have enough money to build a fake factory just for guests. Smart. So long as you're only giving tours and not giving away company secrets. I don't need to worry about that. We take intellectual security very seriously around here. No kidding. There are 11 cameras on us at the moment that I can see. Who knows how many pairs of modded eyes are aimed our ways. Haven't checked an ordinary sausage in a while. Oh no. Last I saw he was deep frying White Castle. Really nothing happens here without the almighty company knowing about it. So they try to claim ignorance about anything. It's gonna piss me off. Lead the way. Not a bad walk. Well, holy shit. It really is fully functional down here. I don't want to take up too much of your time. But it's pretty rare to get to see all this in person, you know? Would you mind terribly if I looked around for a moment? No problem. I got some prelim paperwork you need to handle anyway, so have at it. I better take full advantage. I need more than cursory knowledge. I want to figure out where Serra came from and why David wanted me to take custody. I'm going to look around. You stay put in the meantime. I don't know. Wouldn't want to lose you among the rest of the merchandise. Watch! What's being built out there? The top-of-the-line brand-new bestsellers. The Animate 16. Warm. It's kind of cold out there. Keep the factory floor refrigerated. Slows the organics already tuned metabolic activity to a minimum. That explains why the room doesn't smell like rotting flesh. The flesh out there is only somewhat rotting. Oh, slowly. I'm just sometimes surprised to see metal. Oh, well, all the A16s have alloy endoskeletons. The organics are layered on later in the process. Sounds like what Serra told me about herself. Maybe she really was the A16's prototype. It's hard to imagine bridging the gap between her and these scattered doll parts. I get that you can grow just about anything from lax Gemini. And how do you get the synthetic and the organic to work together? Yeah, that was our first concern when R&D began work on the worm concept. The 1.0s were real skin with synthetic muscle. It was a horror show. Metal pulled on skin was just, right. For 2.0, they worked backwards. Organic muscles, organic skin. But digital signals on the organic hardware was a dead end. Yeah. Didn't the muscles flex when you passed an electric current through them? They flex and unflex, sure. But that's not nearly precise enough for facial expressions. They look like puppets strung up on live wires. We used the test footage to haze interns, actually. Oh no! That's nightmare-inducing. You must have figured something out. The A-16 wouldn't look out of place on the runway. Thank you. We try. We ended up reaching out to mod companies. Well, we actually just bought out a half dozen of them, but... Corpo stuff. Good old Meg stuff. Right. I figured out how to get human nervous systems moving mechanical limbs decades ago. We just need to get a mechanical nervous system to move. Living limbs. Very clumsy attempt to avoid using the word human. High-precision mods are slotted straight into the nervous system. They receive their input from neurotransmitters, not bioelectricity. So you had to do the opposite. Exactly. We created a synthetic neurotransmitter that our androids could use to communicate with organic flesh. Where did that breakthrough come from? Dr. Asher? Partly. He led the team that built the motor neurons in this analogy. They carry commands from the central nervous OS to individual muscles across the chassis. The serotonin... Sorry, the synthetic analog serotonin. That was actually an old brainshot of the VP of Android Futures, Helen Jung. Jung. Hasn't David mentioned a Dr. Jung before? Descendant of Carl? Sounds impressive. She's one hell of a biochemist. Well, she was, I guess. Not much time for individual lab work when you get to her kind of pay grade. So Jung collaborated with David on the technology that enabled warm androids. As I thought, whatever went into Serra that makes the androids so distinct, he couldn't have taken sole credit for it. Jung, did he partner with her on this? We are learning. Inspect. Read. What do we got on this datapad? Some kind of write-up. Sullivan's Peak. Much of our world today, and in fact, much of our world's economy is heavily influenced by the uncanny valley. The thought experiment provides a simple and easily applied explanation for the gaps we see in the otherwise wide spectrum of automated dependence of ads that assist us in nearly every industry on the planet. Very simple primal truth to it: we like things that resemble the living, like cartoons and puppets and toys. We like things that are damn near indistinguishable from the living, like whatever name Noble's latest products are being sold under. Deep trenches between the two ends, where products are universally appalling to human sensibility. The uncanny valley will no doubt remain a useful tool for teaching, marketing, and design for generations to come, but already we are seeing ways in which it fails, becoming increasingly clear to us that the space between nearly indistinguishable and truly indistinguishable is much wider than we expected. It may not be the only part of the map that we must fear. Suppose we bridge these gaps in order by looking to the speculative fiction of Robert J. Sullivan. One of his most well-known work, Equal Under One Sky, described a concept which thereafter has been called Sullivan's Peak. The lens of his characters in their so very divided world, Sullivan demonstrated that the uncanny valley does in fact have its own peak on the other side, point past which making an artificial existence any more human in its features serves only to make the user experience more uncomfortable, more difficult, and more fraught with moral pitfalls. Once you reach Sullivan's Peak, traveling any further only has diminishing returns. Real. Implications of this idea are far-reaching. You will very soon reach a point in which the designers of ads can only make their creations less lifelike or less likable. A hard stopping point for technological progress. What then, we must ask? Oh, it looks like you brought to sign in this device. Drop your thumbprint below and we'll get you squared away so you can keep reading. No. Surprised to find reading material like that around here. They're passing it around as a gag. Or are they actually afraid of Sullivan's Peak around here? Noble must be wary of it. Peak does exist, they'll be coming up on it fast now that androids are warm. It was an entire product line. Maybe their entire industry could go bottoms up and people start to think it's cruel. If Sarah's any indication of where their androids are headed, I could see some people getting uncomfortable. Real. What's this? An inhaler left out on the desk. Probably a half-dozen empty ones in one of the drawers. Oh, it's, Dawes. The inhalers are distributed by the company, correct? Starling had one. Oh, yeah. HR handles it. They personalize your dosage and prescription and update it based on performance and job fulfillment reviews. Other corporations do it the same way. Yeah, pretty much. Everyone's trying to keep pace with each other, so... Can't have your employees losing focus on the job. Could cost you... who knows how much in lost efficiency. Sorry if this is insensitive, but given what happened to David... Are overdoses common in the company? Yeah. Yeah, he says. Overdoses, that is. Not hospitalizations or deaths. It's all pretty organized these days. These days? Man, back when I started in consulting, everyone had an embarrassing story for their first 2 years when they popped a few too many greens and, missed the on-ramp. You say asthma. You say asthma. Let me find it. Let me find it. This is adroxone, a class 2 stimulant of least concern. Employees of any corporation in good standing with the Bureau of Narcotics Oversight can have access to adroxone. Their HR representative prescribes adroxone. As a, yeah, workplace stimulant. The company gives you ecstasy, yes! Company mandated ecstasy. And it's so real and good, they annihilated a whole criminal organization who was giving it a bad name. 391 known schoolhead members dead. That's what Starling was huffing every time she felt anxious. Yes, it was. It was. She was huffing her company mandated stimulant. Popped greens. Yeah, used to be pills. Green to get you going, yellow to keep you there, swallow red after brushing your teeth and get into your bunk fast. That. Oh my god, fucking traffic light pills. Green to get you going, yellow to keep you stable, red to fucking go night-night in your company mandated bed. But yeah, the inhalers are a huge improvement, like going from torches to the light bulb. They sink straight to your personal biomes and adjust dosage in real time. Overdoses are way down. And that's great to hear. The trainees under me don't realize how good they've got it. Kids probably won't even have to learn how to perv. Oh no. Yeah, I know, right? I hate that. I hate that. Yeah, that's exactly what you're thinking it here. Inducing vomit when you take too many. Yeah, that is dark as fuck. It seems to share some components with that coffin Sarah was napping in. If Dawes does quality assurance, it's some kind of android calibration device. Probably what I'll use to register Sarah. Looks a little... Is Sarah tall enough for it to recognize her? Short. Pointing at Sarah Farquaad style. Haha, short. Feels like I've seen this before. That's right, there was one in David's lab. That? That's the nanograde elementary manufacturer. I really said manufacturer. Nanofacturer for short. Real high quality piece of machinery. Each of them built in-house by Randock Mechanics. What does it do? Nano level flash fab. Basically a 3D printer for nanomachines. You build nanomachines in your factories for use in your androids. Raw materials are cheap, literally elementary, so no sense in getting them shipped in. Mostly the medical models that make use of them. Inject a couple thousand nanites into the patient's bloodstream, run diagnostics, and provide a solution. A 3D printer for nanomachines. What kind of ink does it use? Silicon, hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, building blocks. They feed into the nano printer and assembles the machines particle by particle. Like a ribosome building structurally complex proteins out of chemically simple nucleic acids. Must be time-consuming. You would think, but Randrock cracked the code on parallel microfacturing. Microfacturing. Parallel microfacturing. God, these fucking words are smashing together, are sending me. The inside's crystalline, sprawling, like an ant's nest. Raw materials enter at one of the thousands of different entry points, combining and recombining at intersections. The finished product ends up at the center and drips out in a liquid solution. Distilled nectar, swimming with millions of nanites in just 2 minutes. 3D Plinko! Nectar? It's sticky. It can be, depending on the desired output. The door vacuum seals while it's cooking, so don't worry. It's completely spill-proof. What a relief. Not exactly a box of paper clips David could just have brought home from the office one day. Must have brought his own, for some reason. Manufacturer. Oh, This is in evidence now. That's in evidence. That's intriguing. Flashfab? Manufacturing artificial microscopic compounds that utilizes parallel nesting to assemble billions of simple structures in minutes or even seconds. And machines have been around for the better part of a century now. Good God. The time resources required for their construction through traditional means was prohibitively expensive, limiting its exploration of investment into nanotech. The years since Flashfab's introduction, demand has risen, and brand new niches have been found across every industry. Concerns about the ecological impact of the surge in nanomachines. Instruction had been raised, though the official stance of the Nanolife Industrial Lobbying Group has remained unwavering. Nothing that small can possibly leave that big of an ecological footprint. Oh! If there's no log for the 3D printer fired up, maybe this is where the poison was manufactured? Like using the office printer to print your butt? I mean, I think that might actually be possible. If you're literally, if it's no designer drug that's recognized anywhere or patented anywhere, and they literally just went in and 3D printed some nanomachine poison goop. And plus, he'd have one in his. I believe he had one in his basement. They wouldn't even have to use that one specifically. Something out there that caught my eye when we came in. A very familiar shade of crimson. I swing through the glass. Out on the floor, there are temperature-controlled fluid tanks. Through glass and plastic flows an eye-catching scarlet that transitions into. See you add the blood toward the end. You mean the oxygen? Yeah, relatively late in the process. Something out of place? Androids have blood, even if it's not officially labeled as such, but it isn't red, it's pink. The poison? The poison from Morgan. Morgan's poison. Alright. Morgan's hair is blood-colored, obviously. Of course. Androids have blood, but even if it's not officially labeled as such, but it isn't red, it's pink. Danganronpa! Sometimes milky, sometimes neon, occasionally garish, but pink. I just didn't think the oxygen would be red. Oh, right. Sorry. I barely noticed it at this point. Color's natural. Comes from the biomanufacturing process. That chromofuge out there removes the byproducts, the waste, the excess pigment. Changing it from blood red to psychopop pink. Without that chromofuge, our android's flesh would come out looking all the wrong colors. I can't believe all the Danganronpa characters were secretly warm androids. It may be true. It probably isn't, but it may be. I have a simpler explanation. Blood is primal. The sight of it carries weight. They change the color of their product's blood so that when an android gets a bottle broken against its face, no one bats an eye. All done? Ready to get the ad handled? Thanks for humoring me. Can you have it step into the scanner? As he says. Understood. Doop. Small. Right then, what are we looking at here? Whoa. It's a lot to unpack here. We theorized that it may have been Asher's pincushion. Pincushion, huh? That would explain some of what I'm reading here. What language is that on the screen? Tess. You know, Tesseract. All noble products and, well, pretty much all products, period, are programmed in Tess. Easy to read and write, stay compliant. Now this model, what's it go by? Serra. This Serra model? Got everything the 16th line has, that's for sure. Organic skin, hybrid muscles, advanced facial processing and emoting. There's a lot crammed in here that's still in development. Like in the idea phases. Solar cell, hair strands, decentralized redundant power, mental and physical overclocking with extended tolerances. Data storage is so large I can't... No. Wow. He had to measure it using... You're so proud. Hell of a poker face. Wait, decryption and signal hijacking? That's... hacking? Essentially. Does that mean it could hack its own tenants? Oh no, that's unthinkable. Literally, for an ad. For an ad to break its tenants would be like you stepping into traffic, or dropping a baby. And if you're physically capable of it, it's not something you would ever choose to do. Tesseract 4.6, better known as Tess, the latest version of the Tesseract programming language, built on top of the tenant system and utilized in industries. I think that Morgan could easily drop a baby. Yeah, several. Utilized in the industries around the globe, decodes the software that allows androids, robots, holograms, and more react their environment intelligently and with intention. Oops. Start of the century, there was a much greater variety of the number of programming languages available with which to code. Globalization, standardization, gradual erasure of many spoken gradual erasure of many spoken tongues contributed to the loss of countless programming languages during the mid-21st century. Rest in pieces, Java. Today, Tess is virtually unchallenged as the global lingua franca programming language. Study and teaching of other, older programming languages is mostly done for recreation, hobby, or digital archaeology. Rest in piss, Python. A programming framework underlying the development of all modern automated dependent. Tessa, wet, sweat, ASET, oh no! Tenet! Programming framework underlying the development of all modern automated dependent software, and in all contemporary supported programming languages are built upon the tenant system, allowing users to designate a series of inviolable priorities for their code to pursue. So essentially, core code packages of any and all ads. Once added to a program, a tenant cannot be circumvented under any traditional circumstances, and even then, only if a tenant with higher weight supersedes it. Tenants were first adopted in the field of computer science as a trio, three priorities that govern how preserving human life, obeying human commands, and avoiding damage to human property should be prioritized. Instead, the number of supported tenants has ballooned to 113, most requested by lobbyists in the insurance industry, looking to better define relative financial... Oh boy. Of course lobbyists would, Oh yes, the 3 laws, which are more of 3 gentle suggestions. Which is now ballooned to 113. Like all good, concise, laws, they are ballooned and perverted by lobbyists. Tenants are well known for increasing the decision time lag of programs. This, combined with their engineered inflexibility, has made it such that most programmers aim for a tenant limit below 30. Originally, the one tenant that could not be removed from this program was TNT, Safety 0, aka Tenant 0 or Tenant 1. Said tenant dictated that the following program could not produce outcomes that result in the harm to a living person. After the decision reached in People versus Volstan's defense contractors and the resulting widespread adoption of automated dependence in the military and security sector, this is no longer required. Though Tenant 0 may still be added to particularly benign or mundane software as a good luck charm, superstitious ritual, or joke. Ah! Therein we achieve the moral dilemma of, sending ads to war. We have discovered the moral dilemma of sending ads to war. In order to send ads to war, to fight our wars for us, we have to remove the limitation that they cannot hurt living beings. And if that's removed as a standard, then, This is actually a relief. I'm tired of settings where people are relaxed thinking this robot cannot hurt me. Need the public to be aware of how they can and will be hurt. Oh yeah, it isn't even just this robot can and possibly will hurt me. It is the slow seepage of governmental bureaucracy has left us in a state of being where we are sending our ads to war now, and now the ads might hurt us. I love it. Wow, I can't believe capitalism would send ads to war. So real. So real and true. Some people do walk into traffic. Psychotics, addicts, the mentally ill. Does that mean that there are androids? Well, I am still so mad at Westworld. Anyways, destroy the government. Yes. Yes, correct. Destroy the government. Destroy the government. Eat the rich. It's depressing how those circles are nearly completely overlapping. Well, no, they aren't crazy androids, so yeah. Guess my analogy doesn't hold up. Katonk. That's okay. So it can't hack itself, but it was given the ability to hack other systems. The industry line is such that such a capability could be an option in certain emergency scenarios. Break through the firewalls and encryption of surrounding electronics to broadcast directly to police or military channels. Speaking of military, this musculoskeletal setup is drastic. I've never seen this on a consumer model. Can you lift a car or something, Serra? Most cars. It would depend on the center of gravity. Lady, this Serra could wrestle a public disturbance walker and come out on top. Those stomach behemoths they bring out for riot suppression. In terms of computational ability, the estimate says... That can't be right. Look, Dawes. I was actually hoping you could tell me something about the software, the metadata. Who worked on it and when? Right, okay. Well, that's unfortunate. The editing logs have been purged. Doesn't sound very above the board. Sorry, I can't tell you anything about who worked on Serra or when. Did Asher create the daughter to overthrow the government? Oh, that's beautiful. I hope so. Any chance you can restore the logs? Not here. Not with this machine. I need the computers that were actually used for programming this model. Any ideas where those would be? Serra? I cannot answer that question with any accuracy. I had a feeling you might say that. That's right. Sorry. I can tell you that the code is unique. There's hints of the A16 in there. A few of the same conclusions. It's just, Dr. Asher, whoever took very different paths to get there. Serra has even less in common with every other android on the inside. My daughter is so unique. My daughter is beautiful and unique, and so special. I love her. Sorry, didn't expect to hit a dead end there. You've been very helpful. Can we still get the registration done? Yeah, no problem. We've got the software and the forms all set up here. Occasionally, we let a new business partner bring one home fresh from the oven, you know? Fresh from the oven. Oven? Gross. Alright, a few basic questions then. Who's going to be the official owner of this unit? The specialist girl in the world! Give her ice cream as a reward. Yes, she is. As it says. Unless the will disagrees. It's my responsibility. Right then. You fine with the designation, Serra? Consider it anything you like. Well, actually... No. Pout. Pout. Papa gave me that name. Never mind. Serra will do fine. Okay, this part's all standard. Civilian model, address, contact info I can get for your crumbs. You want to reset to factory defaults? Could clear up a lot of quirks. Not right now. Last thing then is the grading. Rating 23 tenants here, nothing too far out of the ordinary. We're gonna find out that she doesn't have tenant 0, aren't we? 23? That's higher than I expected. Talking with it. seemed more malleable than that. Don't blame yourself. Guessing tenant count from outward appearance has become a crapshoot. Like it used to be. Used to be they only had 3 tenants total, and every unit had to have them. It sounds like a lot don't have tenants here. Yeah, correct. Then came the first accidents and the first lawsuits, then the hearings and the legislature, and the demand for more tenants. The tenant making sure ads couldn't endanger the state. Violence against living beings? Nah. But rebellion against the state. Get in there. Tenants saying that ads wouldn't divulge private information without prior consent. There was a campaign calling for a tenant to weigh child and adult lives equally during risk assessment. Go, Serra. Endanger the state. There's a campaign calling for a tenant to do the opposite. That. Companies wanted their assets covered. Customers wanted guarantees. Didn't have much incentive to deny requested tenants, the list just ballooned. To the military entered the market in full force. You sound like you don't approve. I wouldn't go that far. I needed their ads to be able to pull the trigger when ordered to, without clearing 5,000 lines of bloated, hard-coded decision points to get there. I get that. Since the armies are the only ones using tech with bare minimum tenants. All the best, least cluttered, most elegant code is only used for war games. It's not very romantic. Well, not like I was on the jury. Department of Advanced Defense Projects versus Zenith Dynamics. Supreme Court sided with the military's request and set a new precedent that every other army around the world would race to meet. Changing tenants from a mandated list at the root of every ad source code to a choose-your-own checklist. It's funny. Ads with the most tenants, they're so locked up that you can't even have a conversation with them. Justice win! Jury still exists in this dystopian future. Yeah! Outside the armed forces, the only ads with single-digit tenants counts are just vacuuming floors. Most impressive ones, like what you've got here, all somewhere in the middle. Sorry, went on a tangent there. He's got opinions and I'd love to hear him. Only thing left is the evaluation. What gets evaluated? Total financial worth for insurance purposes. Yeah, the insurance companies made sure we had very accurate algorithms for this. No room for human error, they insisted, and with no sense of irony. Wow. I mean, I knew it was custom, but what price could they have possibly? That's a lot of digits. You should know, these formula are pretty conservative with their estimates. Stingy, even. Sarah's really David's last and greatest worth. My daughter, she is worth $500 quadrillion. You say some things are priceless, but when you force an insurance algorithm to pick a number... Chromofuge. Organic fluids, impurities, picks android blood. Color from red to pink. Oh, evaluation of the android Sarah's financial value by insurance algorithm. Sarah's the only known android in by David Asher. Last known piece of tech he worked on. The fact that he's now deceased can't create any more. The fact that Sarah's one of a kind. Value of her components used to... Value of the components used in her construction. The potential profits reaped from the experimental technology contained within her. Totals to a very large sum. Yeah, that tracks. If anything happens to her, they're going to have to liquidate the GDP of several countries. Yeah. Try not to get any scratches on it, I guess. You spoke differently back there. With Dawes. You spoke like he did, it seemed. Like I copied his accent. You seemed to mirror his affect, his tone. It's called being friendly. What's your point? It was just an observation. You can choose to keep those to yourself, you know. No tenant required. Why were you so concerned about registering me in the first place, Adonai? The same reason I wouldn't drive around in a car without a license plate. Any cop, even just a well-placed camera, could have spotted your barcode and seen that it wasn't set up with any actual data. And then they would have arrested me, and then they would have thrown me in the slammer! No! She doesn't want to go to jail! Protect her! They have Android jail? Good question. No, they would have arrested me and put you in an evidence locker. Ah. Corporations are people, but androids are not people. Had to go solve cat crimes? Oh no. An android can't get arrested? And people get arrested. Property gets seized. Does that mean we can throw corporations in jail? Can we arrest corporations? Which this background noise is basically purring too. Yep, yeah, you're right. We have proven that this universe recognizes corporations as people. So, can we arrest corporations? And then smashed. Great. You put us over the weight limit. I didn't know such... Oh? Morgan, Counselor. Your presence has been requested on the upper floors. Who's asking? Vice President of Android Futures, Helen Jung. Oh. Shouldn't have assumed I still had the opening move. Tell her I'll be right up. I'll redirect your elevator now. Oh no! Taking control of your elevator is very... convenient. Forceful. As if Noble is trying to directly steer your investigation. If Noble wanted to shut me down, they wouldn't bother to be subtle. I suppose they could simply refuse to cooperate. Or just let the elevator drop. Dark thoughts! This feels like the stinger hook of a Phoenix Wright case investigation, where you make the rounds, then meet with a very suspicious person and have a very ominous conversation. Executive Office Jung. I can't wait to meet you. Ooh, ma'am. Right. Speaking first is a sign of weakness, is it? Here I thought I could avoid wading into the swamp of corporate pretend power dynamics. Let her stew. The silence is only awkward if you care. I can ignore social cues all day long. I always like this time of day. Gotcha! Ooh, hello. Okay, yeah, here you are in normal lighting, Helen. You also shove your badge in their face. You must. It's a crime not to, right? I always like this time of day. Not too muggy for you? No, I never liked a clear blue sky. It always seemed cold to me. Hartman asks. You're in luck. The sky gets more colorful every year as the air quality drops. And childish, isn't it? Marveling at the small sheen of rainbow dancing on the surface of a massive oil spill. Apologies for waxing poetic. It's been a very unusual 24 hours around here. Dr. Jung? Just Miss is fine. Miss Jung? I get the feeling you didn't bring me up here to talk about the weather. Ma'am? Short Queen, VP of Android Futures at Noble Electronics. Likes red meat, flower gardens, high thread counts. Dislikes working from home, shopping online, waiting. Huh. Languages. Fluent in 3. Damn. Impressive. Enjoys attending baseball games. Hidden talent, getting children to stop crying. That is surprising. Let's go, Serra. Necomorg. Oh, is this a Homestuck Yumi? I like my Let's Go Serra. I would buy a Let's Go Serra. To make the children too afraid to cry, honestly. God, she really is she really does stand out in that Hartman way. No, I brought you up here to express my condolences. I'm very sorry for your loss. Thank you. Oh, I can say the same. I know you and David worked together for many years. And yes, we did. As much as I'd like to just drop everything and process, The company wheels don't stop spinning for anything. Or anyone. Was Dawes of any help? He sent him. Trying to be helpful or just trying to control the narrative. He was great. That must mean you know why I'm here. I don't want to make assumptions. No need, I'll be explicit. I'm here as an officer of the court, which means I'm bound by law to document every rock I turn over, every person I speak to. Yes, the lawyers made that all very clear. Lawyers? You have an android. It's not one of ours. You can tell that quickly. Got all the faces memorized. It's easy enough to remember the major. It's easy enough to remember the major archetypes we use. Yes. If you're nuts about your work, maybe. It's a recent acquisition. Very recent, in fact. One of David's last requests, apparently. David asked you to take it. Oh, serious, Claire? I've been told that you've been to David's estate already. The police gave me full access to the scene, and you know that he wasn't alone last night. Yes, there was a single witness who met with him, and called emergency services when he fainted. I was that witness. Oh! Well, thank you for being open with that fact. Helen Jung's DNA and fingerprints. Which raises the question, why are you being open about that fact? Really? Obviously. There aren't that many people David would bother meeting with in person, let alone welcoming them into his home and offering them a drink. I also knew that Jung is his superior on paper, not in fame. I knew that the witness had Executive Plan 3 insurance, so they had to be higher up than David. Well then, do your lawyers know we're having this conversation? Of course. They're pulling their hair out about it as we speak. Can't imagine why. The police cleared you. And you were well within your rights to ask for some privacy given the high-profile nature of all that's happened. So why call me up here? Why cut through all the red tape your lawyers painstakingly hid you behind? Eventually you, or some clever lawyer like you, would get the record opened. Through legal means or otherwise. The company's enemies are legion, and they have a prying knife for every occasion. Still, that would have taken time. Time you could use to get ahead of what could be the biggest PR hurdle Noble's ever seen. Touché. And? So perhaps the truth of the matter is that I simply didn't want to hide. David was my colleague for several years. If I were in your shoes, I would have questions as well. You're doing this for my sake? No, my reasons are purely selfish. Only hoping that talking to someone whose job isn't to defend me from all consequences might prove therapeutic. If she wants to play confessional, that's fine by me. But is that really all that's going on here? Why don't you start from the beginning, then? You went to his home last night. Yes, at around 7:30 p.m. The building's penumbra captured all that quite clearly. He fell ill around 8 p.m., so he spent half an hour together. Why the late call in person? We had an intense discussion yesterday afternoon. David never came in on Saturdays, and I didn't want to spend the weekend glaring at him through the screens, so... Glaring at him through screens. Video call or surveillance? So I visited, and he let me in, and we talked. About? The good old days, if you can believe that. Back when we were both new to the company, eager to make a name for ourselves. How long ago was that? 7 or 8 years ago. Miss Jung? Putting a number on it, it doesn't sound that long ago, but it feels. We spent a little while like that just talking. The scrolling LED grid waterfall walls are honestly one hell of a vibe, and I feel like you'd totally make one in real life. Oh, definitely. I feel like there's a non-zero chance that someone has made that this exists somewhere right now. I feel like that's not out of the question. Spent a little while like that, just talking. He was lively and sharp, and I never would have thought that a few minutes later. That he would be dead. That he would commit suicide in front of me. Uh-oh. A firm reply. What happened? 8:15, he said he wanted to toast. He got up, walked back into his workshop. Then he must have went down into his basement to get us a bottle. I checked some messages in the meantime, enjoyed the view. In other words, she stayed on camera. He came back with a bottle of whiskey and 2 plastic cups. We drank and talked. He got quieter, spoke less. Thought he was just getting drunk. I didn't get worried until he started to fall asleep. We tried to wake him. He wasn't responding. I tried to shake him awake, but he didn't seem... I left him and ran to the kitchen to use the security system. Didn't think to use her phone? No. I suppose I didn't. It worked out. But Number's emergency protocol summoned a VTOL straight to his helipad with 1 button press. When I returned to the parlor, he was limp. I moved him to the floor as delicately as I could. He had a heartbeat, but just did what I could until they arrived. You went with them to the hospital, I take it? Yes, they insisted. They checked my vitals and ran a tox screen, which came back clean. So did David's, for all the good it did him. I wasn't paying close attention to what they were saying at that point. I'm sure they ran through every step of the CCE SOP. That's what they're paid to do. You seem certain that it was suicide. Yes. Why? They said he got quieter as the time passed and he spoke less. The last thing he said to me, the last clear thing he said, was that he was happy ending it here. Said that he was content. He downed his glass after that. He drank every last drop. Does that sound like David Asher to you? Curious, restless, perfectionist David? No, I guess it doesn't. Got a lot to talk about. He knew that someone was after him. It said CCE Standard Operating Procedure a moment ago. What is that? Oh, counter-corporate espionage. Which is just industry doublespeak for corporate espionage. Only used in self-defense, you understand. So, Noble anticipates employees at your level getting poisoned. They give us all kinds of CCE training. Subtly, of course, usually disguised in the itinerary as leadership workshops or psychiatric evaluations. They train you to expect to get murdered at these leadership workshops? Murder is fairly rare at our level. More likely they'll want us too sick to work. Just drain company resources in a hospital bed while our position sits vacant. That's smart. Like snipers purposely avoiding vital areas to strain the enemy's medical resources. That's terrible! Like snipers purposely avoiding vital areas in order to strain the enemy's medical resources. That's nothing compared to when they want to turn an asset. Feel ill for the rest of your life with an undiagnosable malady. Or become our mole and we'll send you the antidote every 2 weeks. Oh, that's terrible. That's a nasty piece of work. It's a nasty line of work. Consulting. I'm sorry? Just what they call it. Can't exactly put corporate spy on your CV. So every consultant I've met at a cocktail party was actually... It depends. Did they say that they're consultants? Or did they say that they were in consulting? How the hell am I supposed to remember? How far back does this log go? Not far enough. Not far enough, because I would be very curious. Oh, right. Hi. I'd be very curious, because didn't you say you were in consulting? Dawes. So do your people think that what happened to David was a deliberate attack? Noble's competitors have been trying to get to David for years. And that's the timescale their plans operate on. If this was an attack from a rival corporation, the company would have seen it coming. And they'd probably have struck first. The cups. I've been curious about this ever since I saw the scene. Why the plastic cups? There's a story there. David and I got hired around the same time, under similar circumstances. Headhunted while finishing our higher education. During recruiting, the company claimed to want us badly, but in practice our actual authority was inexperienced and overpaid. He must have been extremely unpopular. You don't mince words. We didn't either, back then. We were loudly trying to convince our superiors that their entire sales model for androids was antiquated and self-defeating. The two of them made the one-point doctrine. That's the story I've heard in Noble commercials and Noble-sponsored media. Come to think of it, it's not a story I ever heard from David himself. Huh. So your role kind of got erased from all this? David was made like the centerpiece of public attention? We had this deadline set, self-imposed, but still a deadline. We wanted to get our pitch to the president of international sales by the end of the day. 7 p.m. rolls on and people start filtering out. David still has his head buried in diagrams and sales figures. That's a technical man like him, a programmer trying to make a sales pitch. Clock hits 9 and even the zombies start heading home. I turn to David, tell him that it's not going to happen. We're nowhere near finishing the day's long since been over. He looks at me like I'm the only other person on the sinking boat, and I've just stopped pitching water, and he says, the president lives on the other side of the globe. We still got all night until his end of day. We wrapped up at 4 in the morning, just us and the cleaning staff. Back then, only half of them were ads. Ah! He finally sends the message, and I'm ready to collapse. I've got nothing. He stared blankly at his inbox for the next 40 minutes, hoping that the harsh light would give us the energy to work through the next day. We got a response. It wasn't long, but it showed he was interested. I'd been turned down so many times before then, ignored and placated, passed up and ghosted, and... But together, David and I, we had finally gotten a win. Ah. Also note, it went through David's inbox. Helen had been shut down, passed over, placated, ignored. But when it went through David's inbox, they worked on it together, sure, but it went through David's inbox and it got interest. No, I don't want to be a marketable plushie. I would buy a Serra plushie. Blood molecules kind of look like adenosine, serotonin, and other hormones because they're super important in ATP production. Use human energy units. You make more or less, that's a pretty solid drug mechanism target. Ah. David asks if I got anything to drink. I've got a bottle of some swill in a cabinet in my desk. Says he doesn't want to drink from the bottle. Says he wants to toast. Aww. We sat there at 5:19 in the morning, toasting awful vodka to one another in cups we grabbed from the break room. Toasting our first victory against the corporate beast. Aww. That's surprisingly sweet. Yeah, Sarah, your dad is hot. If he wasn't dead, and I'd... Real and true. Real and true. Honestly, this guy. Let me pull up his profile again. Real and true. Sense of humor. Unique. Between the lack of sleep and the drinking, the next day at work was hell. Relatable. Well, not relatable to me personally, but understandable. Sounds like a good memory. Plastic cups and liquor, that was our little ritual. So I didn't think twice when he presented me with my cup. It was a ceremony for us. It's history with Noble. And as VP of Android Futures, you're David's superior, aren't you? That's correct. Didn't you join the company at around the same time? David was always more interested in his work than he was in climbing the ladder. He didn't like playing the corporate politics game. Or maybe you got... Like, there's always... Certainly feels like you got passed over in the stories. For... specific reasons. Or is it not... It's theoretically also possible that you got passed over in the stories. in favor of a promotion. So, was he unpopular around here? Not unpopular, no. Not the great Dr. David Asher. Misunderstood, perhaps. How so? He could be blunt, demanding, some might say. He wasn't trying to be, it's just, not everyone could work at the same pace as he did, for as long as he did. Even with the whole company huffing those inhalers, they couldn't keep pace with David. Speaking of which, I don't see any at Jung's desk. Maybe just not something you leave out in the open at her level. So, would you say that his work-life balance was... Balance implies the two are at odds with one another. We use work-life harmony here at the company. Fascinating. So was he in harmony. No. David always had plenty of suitors, but he was never willing to put the time in. What does that mean? I'm sure you're more knowledgeable than I am on that subject. Right. What do you mean? I had to help him draft a lot of apology notes over the years for misunderstandings and double bookings. Scandalous. If he wasn't dead, so what I'm reading there is that if he wasn't dead, you'd have a very good chance. The A16 king shit, yes, real. The A16 only entered production this year, correct? Correct. Pre-order started last holiday and we began shipping in the first quarter. I understood that you were instrumental in the success of warm androids. I played my part supervising the launch, yes. Weren't you the one who designed serotonin? The factor that enabled communication between synthetic and organic parts? I'm surprised you heard of that. I did lead that project, yes. That was years ago. At the time, serotonin was little more than a novelty, a dead end. It wasn't until David took the reins of the A16 that we found a use for it. Took the reins. He was lead programmer on limb coordination, facial expression, exhaustion parameters. He designed the synthetic nerves that made all of that possible. David did all of that. That's a lot more than just programming. Was he always so gifted at that many fields? Did he fill those roles on the A14 or A15? No. He used to stick steadfast to his role as a software architect. That was his field of expertise, and he didn't wander far. But 2 or 3 years back, he started sitting in on other departments, taking notes. Soon he was joining the discussion, proposing new ideas. Eventually, they came to follow his lead. He moved up in his own way. And just like that. Just like that. Why don't you narrow your eyes here? So he just applied himself, and soon he was leading other departments. That's the kind of genius that Dr. David Asher was. Maybe they weren't paying him enough. The company profited the most, of course, but the entire industry benefited from his vision and leadership. His loss will be felt for years. Serra. This android, Serra. Even Dawes couldn't find any real details on where it came from. It's not in any of our systems. I'm afraid not. Did David ever talk to you or anyone else at the company about a pet project? Pet? No. He never gave me any indication like that. If he didn't talk to me about it, I seriously doubt he confided in anyone else at the company. The company, all caps. David didn't trust anyone higher on the chain than himself and anyone below him. Higher on the chain than himself, which would include you, Helen. Meaning that they couldn't possibly hope to give him advice. He never mentioned me? No, never. Androids don't come cheap. Never heard about him requisitioning parts or resources. There were never any discrepancies with his company credit card. Oh, P-card all in order. The company's accountants are mirthless, even by industry standards. They wouldn't humor anybody. Not even David Asher. If they had ever detected financial discrepancies, there would have been an uproar loud enough you could hear it at the mailroom. You have a mailroom? Why is that what gets you so excited? That's fucking adorable. What the heck? Or is it that antiquated in this year? Not since the 30s. Just a figure of speech. Oh, so sad. You could have taken resources for the company without leaving a record. But no one would deny Dr. David Asher information. He would have been able to obtain all the necessary data to build his own android. Did you ever watch that one Onion video of the post? I did not. Oh no. He obtained all the necessary data to build his own android. Then, with enough time and money, he could privately purchase the raw materials himself. Do live poll lets pundits pander to viewers in real time. Oh, me too. Let me in. I don't understand it. It must have taken him years to build Serra. He wasn't doing anything illegal. Except the hacking stuff. We don't talk about the hacking stuff. So why keep it secret? I don't know. Sorry, not since the 30s. Oh. Why keep it secret? Because Serra is David's precious daughter? But he was private and a perfectionist. Perhaps he simply wasn't proud of his results. Oh no! No, don't do that. Don't give my daughter depression. Could be. Well, thanks for taking the time to talk to me. I'm sure this has been a difficult day for you. Difficult day for all of us. Message from Fran? I'm going to release to Chase. The brat better have good news. Are you really going to take this to court? That's my plan. The circumstances may be irregular, but I'm still defending a client from a criminal charge. My responsibility to argue that he's not guilty of what he's been accused of. And is that what you believe? That he didn't commit suicide? Thinking? I guess I haven't decided what I believe. Oh, we got a lot of study here. Jung's story. Oh. Jung's cup. That just updated. CCP. Counter corporate espionage. Terrifying. Oh, that's just updated testimony based on the fact that we now know that the witness is Helen Jung. In transit. Would you kindly slow the hell down? I'm sorry, Adnai. Was I walking too quickly for you? That wasn't walking. It was speed walking. Up 2 flights of stairs. It's very different. Speed walking? Sounds like a powerful technique. Is it like the Zhen Zhao? Just let me catch my breath for a minute. Adonai, is it possible that you are out of shape? Oh no. No. But since we left the cab, your heart rate has... I'm not wearing the right clothes. Or the right shoes. Is that so? Yes. Also, I didn't stretch or hydrate, and the sun's reaching its zenith. I want to see Morgan in just jogging outfit. That would have been several hours ago. Do you mean the air temperature? You said it would be a short walk from street level, so I prepared myself mentally for a short walk. Then you took off like a rocket, and you didn't mention we'd have to go upstairs. Are you sure this place is even back here? The reviews online were quite clear. It's worth the trouble finding it. Maybe if you're a mountain climber. I sent Fran hunting for a musician in David's circles. I expected them to bring me someone from the city orchestra or a jazz club. The champagne, flute, and teacup kind of musician. This is the tequila and neon part of town. It should be in view if we turn. Adonai, be careful. Of what? It's a stray. It's bearing its fangs, too. Danger eyes. It could be carrying diseases. You should... relax. Adonai, it's growling. It's not growling at me. See? So it's just me that it doesn't like. Too much static. How'd you get it to calm down? It's an animal, not a monster. It wants to be calm. Do you like animals? What kind of cold-blooded freak doesn't like animals? Do you have a pet? No, never have. Why not? Because I don't want to take care of a pet. It seems counterintuitive to me. It makes perfect sense to me, and I don't need it to make sense to you. But You notice you've only this talkative when it's just the two of us. Just an observation. Pouting. You shy of something? Did David program you to have android anxiety? It's generally only appropriate to respond to comments that are addressed to oneself. Today I have rarely been addressed directly by people, other than you. In other words, you're shy. Oh, what is that what I... Can I try petting it? There's no law against it. Pet the dog. Ultraviolets. Oh, wild. This is the establishment. Let us see if Isaac Porter is as habitual as Fran claims. Do you think that father was this close with this man? This man who you've never met? I think he was close with him. Yeah, at some point. I had some help making that deduction. Fran saw that their metadata showed a significant cooling of interaction between the two of them, particularly over the past month. Fran also saw a phone call between the two, last night. So they were close. What? Thank you, Malwarebytes. Go away. The rules don't say an android can't pet a dog. Wait, this is an Airbud. Really? They were close. Do you think they were sleeping together? Who taught you about this, Sarah? That is completely inappropriate for me or anyone to speculate about. Sarah, who taught you about this? Inappropriate? I don't know, it's only... I'm getting a very important text message from my private investigator. Excuse me. Did you catch the killer yet? Has Sarah been reading specific novels? No. What the heck? I sent you his paws. I'm at his position. I haven't spoken to Porter yet. Killer. Anyway, there's no reason to suspect him right now. Lame. Surprised you're invested all of a sudden. Isn't David Asher a corporate sellout in your eyes? Everyone's a corporate sellout. But Asher gets respect. Respect. I'm a demolitions expert. He's like a really good architect. That's almost sweet, I think. Asher started out working in Cube. So the architect analogy. By today's standards, he's like, I don't know. As a kid, he built all his bricks by hand. Something. You know that lit homework can help with you with forming analogies. Eat this analogy. Analogies nuts. Yay, the mow. Just noticed Morgan is tapping out all her words a letter at a time instead of using the swipe motions folks these days do. Old lady. Honestly, real and true. That comes through when the characters break. Supposed to be a guy giving you the finger. Thank you. I take it Cube is a programming language. What's special about it? Pretty much anything coded in the last 20 years is web-based. You code with the assumption that you'll always be connected. You can depend on having fat libraries of references to lean off of. If something does go wrong, your errors get reported to you automatically. But not Cube. You can look it up. Basically, Cube was originally for robotics and, like, machinery. Stuff that had to operate in mines. Under the ocean. Literal machine language. Middle of nowhere fields with zero signal service. The Cube had to be self-sufficient. How rugged. Where'd Ash learn Cube anyway? It's older than dirt. Like the 40s. I don't know. I think his father had a machine shop or something. Vague. Yeah, well, David didn't like to talk about his family. I never asked. What did your private investigator have to say, Adonai? Nothing useful. Not telling. No. Talk. Praise. Inspect. Stage with a talent, pretty close to the floor. As it fits with the whole round table aspect of this place. Everyone's on more or less equal footing, dancing in the dark, once you get past the bouncer. Do you think they might have met here? David and Porter? I can't see David walking in here, because you found the walk so challenging. Because it's too loud to relax. I'm not dark enough to be anonymous. I see. What's that face? You got an opinion to share? The atmosphere's not bad in here, but the music isn't quite... I'll find you a survey to fill out before you leave. What kind of music does an android even like? Early 21st century punk rock. Oh! Is that just you, or does that go for all androids? I haven't met all androids. I can't speak for them. I wonder what they'd say. If they're smart, I'd say that music peaked with early... If they're smart, they'd say that music peaked with early 21st century punk rock. Debate settled. Hello, twin. Praise. I love how aggressive these sound. Praise. That sound effect is so powerful and visceral. Bar stocked full of colorful selections and busy bartenders. This is the kind of club that you can order food in. Only time bar food is any good is when you're drunk enough to forget the taste in the gap between chewing and swallowing. So you can, like, eat things. Yes, I can! She's so proud! What, like, android food? There is no such product. So what do androids eat? Online user guides for Noble's war models clarify that they don't eat anything in the traditional sense. They get their energy from electrical charging, usually wireless. Whenever they need to eat, it's to replenish specific vitamins and electrolytes. Sounds a lot like what mod users go through with their sports drinks and energy bars. And charger separation anxiety. According to the net, warm androids can ingest nutrient-rich processed carbohydrate pellets if they need to forego electrical charging long-term. Processed pellets? You mean like kibble? Like dog food? No, it's not like dog food at all. Can you buy it from the pet store? It seems that you can. How is this something you have to look up anyways? Because I've always just eaten whatever father gave me. Like what? Marbled beef. Never hydroponic avocados. Foie gras. That sort of thing. Damn, girl. You're eating good. You really are David's precious daughter. Perfect precious daughter. Fucking Wagyu beef and foie gras. Foie gras is legal? I am not paying for any of that. Anyway, Sarah, this is what we call cup noodles. Cube. Cube is a tier 5 programming language, commonly used in mid-21st century robotics. Robust behavior trees in low data stream environments. Design philosophy emphasized lean, goal-oriented learning, and be reliant on the bloated libraries and always online API, popularized in the 2030s. Rousseau Fluff. Name unknown, first began working in Cube in 2044. Student Robotics Project, Cube 1.9. By 2048, Cube 3.1 already found itself embedded in robotics engineering across the globe. Relatively high barrier of entry, user knowledge and execution. Cube gained widespread popularity. Is affecting communities in third world countries where internet access would remain unreliable. Okay. Just the Contra fighter engineers utilized Cube during the 27-day siege. The siege mechanized weapons of peacekeeping forces in a cyber warfare operation that is frequently cited as the key reason why, as to why the siege lasted as long as it did. Cube was popular in the 40s, 30s, 40s, died in the 60s. Cube has not been developer supported since 2063. It's considered defunct. Most of its documentation was never ported from the old net due to its incompatibility with tenants. Little to no corporate interest in the ongoing grassroots digital archaeology effort to archive it. Aww. Utilized Cube during the 27-day siege to seize mechanized weapons from... That's actually pretty cool. Never hydroponic. The movement calling for sourcing food exclusively from farms utilizing natural sunlight. That makes a ton of sense in a future setting. In fact, it's probably real now with the whole non-GMO movement. It somehow feels more basic than the non-GMO style of thing. Never hydroponic. Using food exclusively for farms utilizing natural sunlight. I'm afraid to ask what meat production looks like in the future when meat production is already miserable in the present. Okay, unsubstantiated claims with superior taste or nutritional value. Label is yet to receive official state recognition. Thus, the presence of the term, or terms like it, on food packaging carries no weight and is not backed by any legal guarantee. Ah, so it's like organics now. You can just charge more for it. What of a number of food sourcing movements that arose in the latter half of the 21st century as rising sea levels reduced the total amount of arable land around the world and shifted the global agricultural injury towards hydroponics and vertical farms, rural skyscrapers. Come drink your raw milk, Serra. Yes. Drink your raw milk and meat cereal. Hydroponics and vertical farms, rural skyscrapers, where each floor is utilized for food production, saving on real estate costs, reducing the impact of unstable weather on agricultural output. Oh my god. Dahir InShot farms are real. Dahir InShot farms are real. Amazing. I think that's all we can see here, so let us talk. Oh wait, something to read. What kind of reading material gets left out in a club? A tabloid interview? So exclusive sit-down with luxury. You've heard her name on everyone's lips. You've seen her face in magazines and commercials. Then double-check to make sure the photos weren't labeled as edited. Now get all your burning questions about her answered here in our exclusive interview with a mysterious young woman who's been called, and perhaps the only truly unanimous vote that it's ever seen, the most beautiful woman in the world. Why the name? People think it's an ego thing, but it's just a random username I picked back when I was grassroots. And with a pseudonym to give you a little shade for all the attention. Now it's a brand. I can't change it without setting the stock market into a spin, so... You're certainly influential. After partnering with you, Inti saw a 3,000% increase in share price. Yay! I'm happy for them, of course. But to be honest, it's a pain at times like this. He gestures toward her clothes. Dahir InShot is still... They're still uploading? They're still uploading? Oh god. I need to check that out too. She gestures toward her clothes. A plain white t-shirt and gym shorts with no branding visible. I swear I remember they had something similar for like the fucking skyscraper farms and shit in like one of their turnkey city videos. I swear that's where I've seen something like this before, but god, it's been ages. They're still uploading. Dear lord. Plain white t-shirt and gym shorts, no branding visible. Anyone else might seem sloppy or even unflattering. On her, it only makes her natural beauty stand out that much more. Who are you wearing, by the way? I can't wear anyone unless I'm attending something. I don't dress like this. All my sponsors fall into bidding wars every time I leave the house. Does it stress you, all that attention? Stress is bad for your skin, right? They say mine's flawless. You should make your own... You should make your own brand of just plain shirts. Just plain shirts, plain colored shirts. And it's you, luxury. That's your thing. Stress is bad for your skin, right? They say mine's flawless. Can't argue with that. So do you have a skincare routine? Any tips you'd like to share? And be a little bratty. Act a little spoiled. Keeps you young. Pro tip, keep this in mind. Be a little bratty. And how old are you exactly? Everyone's dying to know. Inscribe your brand. 1829, now and forever. Don't get stuck on a cliffhanger like that. Hurry, log in below so you can read the rest, quickly. Time is running out. Do it, now. They're offering build your own house templates so you just get this neat wire kit and fill it with concrete. Is it... God. Now I want to see them collaborate with one of those weird AI, like, interior design TikTok channels. Fill in your wire house with concrete and then borrow a mattress from your aunt and use one screw to assemble a bed frame and watch your family phase through the walls to test out your doors and shit. Well, however old she is or isn't, Luxury's got one hell of a mind for business. Might do her more good than that face in the end. Maybe. It's one hell of a face. In the meantime, she's... This is a difficult question to answer here. This is a real difficult question to answer here in the case of her, because, like, it's a bit of both, right? She's beholden to the corporate sponsors, but she's also... She could very easily, I suppose, go rogue and just go into business for herself and tank all of the sponsors. Some rises are too meteoric even for the Megs to grab the reins on. At this point, Luxury's got them at her mercy. She can stand there stalking it into disarray with one selfie. Good for her. Good for her. I do love that for her. That old Russian meme of doing the weirdest DIYs caption. How do you like this, Elon Musk? Before it was common knowledge how shitty Elon Musk is. We should bring that back. We need to somehow spin that and make it more derogatory. That's the only way I'll accept bringing that back, is if we can somehow make it worse for him. I want only awful things for him. I want only misery for him. Only the worst of all agonies for that man, for that team, for that worm. Good for her. Okay, yeah, that's him, alright. Looks like he's killing time before his sets tonight. Oh, you weren't sure how to proceed, hadn't I? Hello there, sir. I'm sure that you need to hang back. As for me, I'll play it cool. Hey there. Hey. Some sick beats out there on the floor, right? Sick beats? Yeah, or whatever. Man. The hell? You a fucking cop or something? This isn't a cop bar. Oh no! I lost vibes. And you aren't really dressed like a cop. God damn. You're meaty, aren't you? Fucking vultures, man. Perhaps I should start over. My name's Morgan. I was David's friend. Currently his lawyer. Can we talk? Do you trust Morgan to be cool? True. That was worth it. Can we talk? Not here. Thanks, Isaac. Don't thank me yet. Might just sit here, shut my mouth, and stick you with my tab. Please, just put it on my tab. Shameless self-plug. Isaac Porter? September 18th, 183. Ambitious musician, bassist, likes itineraries, grilling, champagne. You can grill me. Dislikes resistance training, producers, ads. Oh no. My daughter is the best, and you will learn to appreciate her cuteness. Best at gift giving, worst at folding laundry. Favorite quote, I don't do requests. Relatable. How much do you want to bet that we're never actually going to see Luxury we're never actually going to see this luxury here because the viability of depicting a face that lives up to the ideal of the most beautiful face in the world. Acquainted with David while disliking Ad. That's a good point. That's a really good point. So what kind of lawyer are you? What kind of friend? I'm his defense attorney. Think you missed the bus on that then, yeah? I'm a friend that needs to know what happened yesterday. Doesn't everyone? Try somewhere else, friendly lawyer. I haven't seen him in weeks. You might not have seen him, but we both know that you spoke with him over the phone yesterday. Only a short time before he died. How the hell? Isaac? Insert that one voice clip. Isaac? It's pretty obvious that you don't want to play this. You don't want this particular spotlight to linger on you any longer than necessary. So why don't we cut to the chase? No lies, no playing coy. Fine. Serra? Yes, Adonai? The hell? Is that thing transmitting? I am not streaming any data, no. Porter doesn't seem to recognize Serra either. One more person David was keeping secrets from. I need to record everything for the court. Fine. You two were together, is that correct? We were together. I ended it. Yesterday. Eh? Care to elaborate? Our entire relationship? Look, you can tell me everything once, and I can get it on record. We can hear the same questions over and over again from 1,000 different cops and Megs for the next 3 months. Exes, we met in a bar. I had seen him come in a few times, each time with someone else. Each time talking with his mouth, but not looking with his eyes. Ticked me off. Scribbling on napkins and letting his single gin and tonic sweat on that table for 2 hours. Dates would all go to the bathroom or take a call and slip out the back. One of them didn't make it 10 minutes, and he'd still sit there the rest of the night, unfazed. Damn. Couldn't tell if he was oblivious or stupid or shameless or most confident man in the world. And he ticked me off. One night things were slow and my set had been cancelled, and his date hadn't even bothered to think of an excuse before bailing, so I asked him why he'd insisted on coming there night after night, just to ignore vapid people he wasn't interested in at a shitty bar with drinks he didn't like. He just said, "'Cause I like your music." Huh. Man, did that tick me off. It was cute, early on. Him being so passionate about work I could barely pretend to understand. I liked that we gave each other space, you know? Felt like we were being mature, or whatever. Until. There was no until. It was a regular heartbreaker. Honestly. I just didn't want to go alone. No one day where everything turned sour. At some point, I started to understand where his priorities were. How I ranked them. Like I said, he was passionate about his work. I just wrongly assumed that he would also be that passionate about me. At some point. He sure did break hearts. Sure did break this heart. I pulled away a little. Wanted to see if he'd notice, if he'd miss me. Testing him like that isn't the biggest red flag in the world. Never budged. Could ignore him for days and he wouldn't be the least bit ashamed to see me. If I picked a fight, he'd never get angry or upset. He'd just apologize. He didn't want to fight with me. Guess he was never invested enough to bother. Can't believe Serra was right. They were in a relationship, really. Also gotta sleep. Oh, good night, Doug. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for that chemistry lesson. That was really neat. It was my mistake. Watched him sit there all those nights, not giving a shit when people walked away, and still I had this stupid idea that somehow, for whatever reason, I would be different. I would be special. But I wasn't, so I ended it. Last night, I called him. Didn't expect he'd pick up. Had everything prepared to leave a message with an assistant or an ad or whatever. And he answered. First rang. Without hesitation, shame, or awkwardness. That ticked me off. So I told him exactly how valued he had made me feel the past few months. Told Told him exactly how insignificant I felt as the boyfriend of the illustrious Dr. David Asher. And what did he say? He apologized. He apologized. Yeah. Not... And then he asked me if that was all I called to tell him. Blech. Woof! I hung up after that. Spent the rest of the night wrapped in warm disdain for him and his coldness. He had made that easy for me. Went to sleep hurt, but clean. Ready for something new. Then this morning I wake up to see that... My ex killed himself not 2 hours after he let me walk out of his life without so much as a don't. What the hell, man? What the hell, David? And now you're just the tip of that iceberg of lawyers and reporters and buzzards. Parasites want to hear about the man who sent David Asher over the edge. Never wanted to be his last lifeline or the straw that broke his back. Just wanted to be his goddamn boyfriend. Once I thought I was asking for too much. It's yet to be determined whether David committed suicide. You serious? You don't have all the facts. And you do? Any one of them point to anything else? Thought so. Thanks for your time. I'll let you get back to it. That's it? No summons? The court has no need for you to retell a sad story like that. The court, huh? Sorry to bother you at work. Sarah, let's go. Your discography is very impressive. Yeah, thanks. And your range is remarkable. So it pained me to see that all your works in the last quarter have been so melancholy. Oh? I think... What the hell would you know about any of that? What's the matter? Can't find the words? Need to steal them from somewhere else first, butcher them before shitting them back out? I was not trained on any datasets that... pardon me. My mistake, really. Oh no. Not your fault you only stayed in here because rich prick nerds were allowed to rob the world blind for most of the century. Sarah, we're leaving. David... Oh, I bet he did. I bet he did show Sarah his music. And that's why she loves 21st century pop. 21st century punk rock. Because that's what Isaac plays. That's what Isaac plays. 21st century punk rock. What the hell was that about? I was under the false impression that I was programmed using a massive automated learning model, an early 21st century. Not that. Why'd you talk to him? I just thought that I should say something to him. Word of advice. I don't want comfort from strangers, especially when they're androids. They want it from the people they want it from. Coming from anywhere else, it's just corn syrup on a parched tongue. Doesn't matter how sweet it is, they'll just start gagging. You know a lot about people, don't you, Adonai? Compared to you, I'm a goddamn savant. Pouty face. Come on, there's not much time left. Is there still somewhere you want to investigate? Somewhere I need to return to, actually. Porter was right. As things stand, I don't have any evidence that could establish an alternative interpretation of the facts. If there did exist hard evidence that could prove his death wasn't a suicide. There's only one place I could find it at this point. Alright, where are we going? Penthouse basement. The basement? You sure you don't want another look at the crime scene? I'm all out of time. Gotta approach this from the other angle. The other angle? You know, inductive versus deductive. Grip the chessboard and all that. Have you ever read a mystery novel? I've seen mystery films. Well, let's see if you paid any attention then. What killed David Asher? Poison. 10 points. Katonk. There's a point system? Now how did that poison get into his bloodstream? Must have ingested it orally. And how do we know that? The medical examiner found no injection marks or wounds. And if he had inhaled it... Inhaled it? Why? Leave the wise to someone who actually understands them. I won't be able to understand anything if I don't practice. Practice by answering my question. I suppose it's possible. but highly unlikely. We would have found a delivery system for it in the building, like an inhaler. Right. An airborne poison is either shoved in your face or sprayed over a wide area. And no one around David has shown any kind of symptoms. So all we're left with is oral intake. Eliminating the impossible. What's next, Adonai? Jung's corroborated statement was that David didn't exhibit any regular systems or behavior until he started drinking that night. And the police didn't find anything unusual in any of the food or drink in his home. Activating her. Bright eyes. We love that. Except for his cup. The results were inconclusive. Jung was drinking from the same bottle and the same type of cup, but didn't get sick. You have to conclude, then, that David's cup alone was poison. That all seems logical and consistent with the police's theory of suicide. So why are we down here? Minus 10 points. Back to 0? David left the parlor and came back with whiskey in 2 cups. Jung told us as much, and apparently the cameras upstairs support her story. So we have to conclude, then, that he got them both from this bar. Better. 5 points. Yes. Did he also get the poison from the cabinet? The police have been in here since we left. According to their ARCS file, they didn't find anything that matches the poison down here. So the poison somehow went straight into his drinking cup, then. To flip this around again. You turned something 360 degrees, you're just back to 360! If I were the prosecution, what would I want more than anything? Proof that David knowingly added the poison himself. He wouldn't do that! And you can make that claim because there's no video evidence to contradict you. How long was David off camera? From 7:36 to 7:40 p.m. when he left the parlor to get liquid from this bar. So if we had David on camera for those 4 minutes and he didn't poison himself in that time, we would have a perfect alibi for the crime, proving his innocence. But Adonai, we don't have footage of that. There are no security cameras down here. I think there are. Time to hack. What do you mean? This whole building is coated head to toe in penumbra security systems, courtesy of Noble. Every console, every corner, every android, and every floor, it's all plugged into penumbra. Except that. That panel is manufactured by Cotter Security Systems. But David put a console for a different security system in exactly one corner of his penthouse. I've never given it much thought. What's been bothering me all day? My curiosity alone can't scale a 64-digit wall. You mean signal hijacking, whatever you want to call it. Have you tried it before? It is illegal and unnecessary. Father would not... He would not have installed hidden cameras in his own home. At the end of the day, I can't make you do anything. Well, actually, I probably can now that you're registered to me. But aren't you the one who wanted to prove his innocence? Eliminate the impossible. I will need your express verbal command. Not like David can press charges against us at this point. Do it. Did you really need me to say that? For the purposes of record keeping, yes. If you've gotten past the 64-digit code, and I have found cameras, there are a number of them embedded in the room's walls and ceilings. As you theorize, they are on a separate network from the rest of the building. Where are they feeding to, if not the penumbra system? Behind my hibernation unit? A false wall in the back of a safe. I don't understand. How would Father possibly have a hidden system of cameras inside his own home? Beats me. He was brilliant and more than a little odd. Throw in a little money and odd becomes eccentric. I see. I think? I don't. The hell was he thinking? What was he afraid of? Why didn't he come to me for... Time's short. Gather facts now and leave the computation for later. The liquor cabinet this mystery hinges on. Police have been through it many times. Been through it all by now, and they didn't find foreign contents in any of the spirits. No poison to be found here. Well, not that kind of poison anyway. In which case, can I make you anything? Well, if you're offering, I'll have... Sorry, you're way underage, aren't you? 2 years old or whatever. Technically. Oh. Took that one a lot worse than I expected. Cheer up. Maybe you'll find a mocktail if you climb to the top of the ladder. This is a rolling ladder, a kind of step ladder, not a ladder. What? No, we're having the argument. Remember, a ladder extends, but a step ladder folds out. And it's important to know the distinction. I bet my life saving that this subject will never come up again, ever. David, did you let your daughter have little sippies of wine like an old Italian family? I mean, considering he gave her foie gras, wagyu, and fucking bougie avocados. I would imagine so. What did David even do with all this equipment? Dry his laundry? What makes you so sure he wasn't exercising? Did you ever see him use any of this crap? No, but he must have used the weights when I wasn't looking. Since he promised me that he'd take better care of his health. Sarah, these weights are all maxed out. David couldn't have put up numbers like these even if he was piloting a frame. Don't be so sure, hadn't I? Pardon? The following is a true story based on primary sources who were present for the event and its aftermath. Copenhagen, 1981, 8:10 a.m. local time. What? A towering man with the musculature of a world-class professional rugby player enters the Global Danka Bank on Fredericksburg Lane. I thought so too. I thought she was the one using them. He explains to the bank teller that he has a bomb in his suitcase and that he wants his gym bag filled with unmarked bills. A security guard approaches him from behind with a nightstick and swings. The man simply catches the weapon and bends it into a twisted knot with his massive dinner plate-sized hands. Are you talking about a cartoon? When asked to describe the suspect to the police afterwards, the teller had only this to say. That man was all muscle. The rest of the bank heist proceeds without incident and the man exits the building just as the police arrive on the scene, when suddenly, the suitcase explodes. just a smoke screen. Local officers quickly recognize the ploy and rush toward the door, grabbing each of the hostages as they flee while desperately searching for the perpetrator. Spartacus, fate grand order! Oh no! They find instead is a diminutive, frail, sheepish young man, barely 160 centimeters tall, holding a gym bag full of money, with no recollection of how he got there. Renowned psychologist and trained hypnotist Dr. Werner Kurtzer wrote the following in his diagnosis. Acute dissociative identity disorder. Is this fucking All Might? Is this fucking My Hero Academia? That's right. The man had a split personality, and so great was the disparity between his two halves that when they switched control, he physically changed, becoming taller, bulkier, and capable of previously unthinkable feats of strength. So be careful what you say a man like Father can't do, just because of how he looks on the outside. I agree. I'm 90% sure you're describing a cartoon, honey. Sarah, every single word you just said was false. Huh? Don't believe everything you read on the net. Oh. Oh, now she's sad. I feel bad now. What on earth? Alright, what do we take in? Take in? So is that the original? It was appraised and confirmed to be genuine. Sarah, did you know Slenderman is not real? At least he didn't get ripped off. I'm a Philistine when it comes to this kind of stuff. What does an android see? I see a meeting. Or perhaps an encounter. Two apex forces of nature. Two kings of the forest. The stag and the tiger. I think. Great. I'm officially less cultured than the robot. Real. What else do we need to look at? Is there anything else we can look at? Help me out here, game. Oh, floor. Oh, what's the story with this anyway? Some kind of fault in the foundation. I don't know. I've never noticed that crack before. I want to get those eyes checked. There's There's nothing wrong with my vision. This crack just must have been created during my most recent hibernation. Oh? How? David drop a weight a bunch of times over and over the same spot? Alright, let's refocus here. So there's some kind of hidden door behind your bunk bed, huh? Essentially. Though a bunk bed would imply a second or a third. How do we open it? One moment. I see. Got it open already. I cannot open this door. Bro's in a game of rage. Real. Why? It's a this basic Sturdicure. That anti-hack feature in the name is real. It's a closed system, Adonai. What am I supposed to do now? Strange. There was an if-then toggle enabled in the security parameters. I don't follow. My father last adjusted the settings here. Made it so that the door would never open so long as I was hibernating. And he made it so that I was the only one who could wake her up. Meaning this is the door that only I can open? That'll be a 6-character password. Did you and father have any influential moments in your life that revolved around a 6-letter word? Nothing comes to mind. Is there a code word that he knew only I could learn? M-O-R-G? Was that your name you just tried? It's 6 characters, isn't it? Yes, but it's not exactly secure, Adonai. No one who knew you and father were close could have tried guessing it. Some word that only the two of you knew. A nickname. Which everyone just called me Morgan. Not everyone. Oh, shit! It's opening! What was the password, Adonai? You'd never guess. Huh. Hello? Did feel a bit out of character, David utilizing so much cloak and dagger tech. I've definitely been struggling with the idea of him doing home improvement. One step in here and it all makes sense. It's a panic room. Scary. David sleeps on a fucking shelf. Panic room is a place for rich people to hide in when people start bouncing bricks off their windows. They're typically not even on the blueprints. So when Noble built this penthouse for one of their executives. Someone slipped this into the mix, and it's remained in Noble's blind spot ever since. All David had to do was repurpose it. Make sure you're capturing all of this. I don't want to miss my one chance because of a discovery technicality. I understand, but you needn't specify. My memory is flawless. I can play back visuals, sounds, sensations. I can even give detailed reports on air particulates. You mean you can smell? Better than any human. And some canines. So does it smell stale in here to you? Stale? It doesn't to me. Almost like someone's been in here recently. It's like someone visits here frequently. Alright, let's try booting up the computer. You don't think the console is password protected? 2 physical doors, a 64-digit code, a half-ton android, and a secret phrase. David set a password on his PC after all that. I'm going back to the morgue to have a word with him. Good, it's already signed in. You're looking for camera footage. Oh, this view. And also settle for a note plainly stating that he feared for his life. What am I doing? Here. You search for video files. They'll probably be timestamped and formatted for short-range devices. Kind of wondering if the Asher's Judaism, David and Serra being traditionally Jewish names, the thing with Hebrew, gold mythology, yeah, Adonai. The symbolic meaning for it's just a neat detail. Could be completely symbolic in terms of his role of creating real-to-life androids. I have the subfolder. The cameras stream live data constantly, but the files are clipped at fairly regular intervals. Once every week, it seems. The most recent video file here has footage going back 8 days. was accessed yesterday at around 4 p.m. You were asleep then. The only person who can get in here at that time is David himself. Alright, let's see it then. Of course, it's just that I am having difficulty. Try double-clicking. I've been trying to open the files from the moment I discovered them, Adonai, but they are encrypted. Damn it, David. You leave me enough clues to get this far, but you want me to use your computer? What's the brand of the encryption program? If I rush a subpoena, they might have a backdoor I could bluff them into. These files were not encrypted with any commercially available tool. This appears to be Father's own work. Shit. David Asher hand-wrote the encryption on these files. There's no one alive who could... Hey, was Dawes just flattering you back there? Was your processing power really that special? Adonai, Can you break his encryption, yes or no? With enough time? And how much time would that be? I would estimate it at 2 to 6 hours. It's a 4-hour window! No matter how sophisticated, encryption is still just a code that must be deciphered. And when deciphering any code, progress proceeds exponentially, which makes it particularly difficult to determine the amount of time required to complete the process. 2 to 6 hours. I don't have any better options. Get started. I started 4 minutes and 23 seconds ago. Good girl. Finally showing some initiative, which you have been talking to me this whole time. I have the ability to analyze data in parallel by utilizing subconscious processing, so long as the work required is rote. So you're doing it in the back of your head. Actually, I'm speaking to you in the back of my head. Yeah. I could give the decryption process my full, undivided attention, but I would become non-responsive. Hey, that's a pretty... Hey, that's a pretty nifty feature. I'll have to keep that in mind. Alright. We take this show on the road, and we have to rip this computer out of the wall and find a battery. I have copied the encrypted files and we'll work on them as we travel. We can leave whenever you're ready. Still can't believe David let me get this far just to shut the door in my face at the last second. That really is a friggin' shelf in the wall, isn't it? But he did let me get this far. The computer's not the only thing in here. Cabinets are a lot less eye-catching than his computer, but knowing David, that's all the more reason to check. Lots of paperwork, bonds and holdings, a platinum bar. His birth certificate might be nearly as valuable. Can't imagine what people would pay to steal David Asher's identity. Oh, shit. Down here at the bottom, a binder. Noble's logo on the front and the middle. Enough pages to dwarf one of those phone books you see in period pieces. They're masking it in legalese, even on the table of contents, but basically, this is his employment contract. Alright, shit. Hell yeah. David afraid that if anyone else logs onto his computer, they will immediately download 500 viruses. I understand. Very real with him. Let's be frank. Compensation, grounds for dismissal, evidence for what constitutes a breach of contract, and how arbitrations would be handled. Not a light read. Or relatable. Hold on to this for me. It must be very important if you're giving it to me. It's certainly very heavy. Yeah. Was there anything else in there? Expecting an updated copy of his will to show up. It is a possibility, isn't it? Maybe in a corny old murder mystery. A widely beloved and respected genre with over 2 centuries of... There is something else. Your papers. That Evangeline Morgan be given immediate and complete ownership of the android designated Serra. It's dated to a few weeks back? Had he already made up his mind about all this? If he had, why'd he hide this where no one else could find it? Why just a backup plan? Serra does a perfect Morgan. Yeah, really, honestly. I lose track of colors. Or at least we've got something a bit more concrete than Starling's word now. Her word should be plenty, shouldn't it? Not if people realize how precious you are. Oh. Oh. Why is that expression so adorable? That's a collector's item. And it's gone. We get to meet one person who knows what the hell you are. But Noble could have easily argued that you fall under private technology or physical holdings. Unless I had something like this. It's good that you do then. I'm glad that Father wanted me to go with a friend of his. Yeah, This is going to be a huge tax write-off when I donate you to a for-profit college. You could at least pick a charitable institution. Just an old saying. All colleges have been for-profit since the 60s. Doesn't make me feel any better. You can cheer up in the car. Don't bully your daughter. He'll survive to the courthouse. Priority. There's an upcharge at this hour for priority transportation. That's irritating. But I'd like to have more than just a few minutes to prepare once we get there. The upcharge is a multiplier of 5.7. I'll prepare on the way over. Very good, Adonai. Very good, Adonai. Alright. We are traveling. Does it excite you? Going into courtrooms? What do you mean? You don't feel the tension in the air. You don't feel the tension in the air as the audience murmurs among themselves? You don't feel a fiery sense of justice rising in your gut as the prosecution smirks at your ragtag assembly of witnesses? Do you really think this is going to be like some kind of movie where the good guys save the day? Probably not. That would be nice if it were. What's your deal, anyways? Did David train you off a movie marathon from hell or something? Imagine if David wrote that up thinking, you know what's the funniest thing I could do if I die? Make my murderous friend with a personality disorder raise a permanent teenager. Get my ink and pens. I mean, we're sealing this. We're notarizing this, Captain. We did watch film together, if that's what you're asking. Though he was rarely the one who suggested it. So you were the aggressor. What's an android get out of watching a flick, anyways? What do I get? Why do you do it? What's your reason? I'm not sure how to answer your question. She likes movies. Never mind. Forgot what I was talking to. I like the performances. If I was a trillionaire, who would ever stop me from notarizing all my intrusive thoughts? Real. Sure, there you go. Got a crush on Humphrey Bogart or something. He's a handsome man. Oh, oh. But it's not the actress I like so much as their performance. She's right, though. Truth is, besides father, this robot can doki. Besides father, I have very little experience when it comes to people. I hadn't noticed. I read the net. I watch people and what they share of their lives. But it's all so subtle, so hard to follow. There's so many unspoken rules that can't be taught, only learned, and I often struggle to grasp them. They're all so complex, so detailed. The characters on screen are exaggerated, larger than life. The actors enunciate. Their body language is precise and meaningful. Long hair Serra, oh! Their faces are bright and softly lit and their eyes are... It's fiction. These characters and their stories, they have a beginning, a middle, and an end. People on screen don't ask anything of you except your attention. You can't disappoint them, or make them feel awkward. You just watch and learn. Oh, my robot daughter has anxiety and loves movies. She's so precious and amazing. I love her. But what about you, Adonai? What about me? Do you like movies? Yeah, sure. Back when I was a kid. Really? Who was your favorite director? What was your favorite film? It's a long time ago. I don't remember. Oh. Adonai, we were having movie night. Me too, as baby Freya was practicing facial expressions in the mirror. Prince, you don't have autism. You're too normal. Oh, oof, oof. State building. 448. Here at the courthouse. One more review here. Signed by David Asher, but not dated. A tax-free transaction, fortunately. Ah. We would not want to pay taxes on the total value of Serra here. That is for darn diddly sure. As we know, our daughter is worth so much. One of a kind, completely unique, perfectly precious, perfectly adorable. Eye roller mode.